packed house here at the renovated Amon G. Carter Stadium on the TCU campus. 17 Texas Tech, 23 TCU. Ranked teams meeting in a very big game in the Big 12. Dave Lamont along with Kelly Stauffer, we thank you for joining us on a gorgeous day here in Fort Worth. Plenty at stake in this game as we show you the standings because both these teams 2-1. The winner of this game is going to start thinking, hey, we can win the conference title. The loser is going to start preparing their press releases with the term needs 6 win for bowl eligibility, Kelly.
Yeah.
And so this game for the middle of the year has got a lot of weight.
You're absolutely right. I think if you don't win this game today, you can really slide downhill very, very quickly the rest of the stretch.
And in a conference that is very tough this year, both these teams have some giant games left, but none bigger than this one. TCU in the home purple will receive the opening kickoff. And instead it'll go out nearby the Texas Tech band. Trevon Boykin, another start for the redshirt freshman. That's what he did last week against Baylor. This is just his 3rd start. His first one against Iowa State was a little shaky, but he was magnificent against Baylor, a redshirt freshman from Mesquite, Texas.
And remember that Boykin was practicing as a running back 2 weeks prior to his first start against Iowa State. You're right, he was shaky then, but he took a giant step forward last week against Baylor, especially in the pass game, but he has to win today with his feet.
And he's going against one of the best defenses in the country, ranked 4th in the nation. And a good read there by Boykin. He ran the ball well against Baylor and runs it well here, gets a first down on the opening drive with DJ Johnson, number 12, on the stop.
And this is what Boykin brings to the table. The quarterback zone read, you can see the defensive end crashes down. Poland replaced where that defensive end was, but Boykin has to put this offense really on his back, more or less on his feet, and make plays like that today.
One of the big things that we were told yesterday by TCU coach Gary Patterson, we've got to get Boykin off to a quick start and build his confidence. And that's going to be a false start on TCU. That won't help. It'll make it first down and 15.
And Dave, the administration of the offense and things like that.
By 85 of the offense, the 5-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
Getting your teams in and out of the huddle and getting the right play called is what Gary Patterson right there wants to see out of his quarterback today.
And he finally has his team in a BCS conference. TCU has bounced all over the college football landscape, or so it seems. Now, geographically, they're in the right place, I think, in the Big 12, and certainly their fans are juiced about it.
Oh, their fans think they finally have come home. There's no question about that.
This time, this is B.J. Catalon, untouched until he gets to the 45 and into Texas Tech territory, down to the 41-yard line. Catalon, the freshman from Houston, is brought down by Bruce Jones.
We saw Boykin keep the first one. Watch the defensive end this time. He plays a little soft, and so that's a good read by the quarterback. The young quarterback making great decisions, not only in the pass game, but he has to do that in the run game this afternoon.
Boykin's first pass, sidearm sling, caught around the 25-yard line. The catch made by Sky Dawson, who's got great speed and showed some nice hands there. That's about a 20-yard pickup to the 22.
Don't be taken aback by the kind of 3/4 arm sling right there by the quarterback. The accuracy, the ball placement, the timing. The ball has to come out on time. That's the improvement you saw from week 1 or start 1 to start 2 with Boykin. He was making really quick decisions in the pass game.
This is a Texas Tech defense that throttled Geno Smith a week ago. 3 first downs already for the Horned Frogs. Catalon again, this time a little resistance as he gets to inside the 20, the 19-yard line. Terrence Bullitt and Jackson Richards in there on the stop for the Red Raiders.
Typically, TCU wants to be impeccably balanced offensively. And you see that right now. They want to run it in order to throw it when they decide to throw it, when they think they have the numbers and the leverage. And they're running the ball really well right now. Up front, this offensive line is still learning one another. They're playing very well so far.
Brandon Carter, number 3, Ladarius Brown, number 85 on the left side. Back out of the backfield, thrown to the middle of the field into the end zone. It is a touchdown, Dawson.
the stretch on number 25, D's right underneath. You have the route by Dawson in behind. Boyce was in front of him trying to hold him. Once again, a very good read and a good finish by Dawson with the reception in the end zone.
So all the talk of the improved Texas Tech defense, number 4 in the nation after being 114th last year, and on the opening drive, TCU ran right through them and went over them.
We knew that Boykin would be a challenge because of what he can do with his feet, but if he can make decisions like this in the pass game, this Texas Tech defense is going to be challenged in a mighty way here this afternoon. Great reaction. There's a lot of energy in that young man.
That's one of the things also that Gary Patterson told us. I want a lot of energy. That doesn't necessarily mean a lot of noise. It just means a lot of energy in the stadium. Not just as players, of course. He met the fans as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's not just showing up in a conference like this. The home team has to show up with fans that make a difference in the outcome. And it's the energy, not just the noise, as you stated, Dave.
Well, hello, Texas Tech. Welcome back to Fort Worth. It's been a little while since you've been here. In fact, the last time they were here, they didn't score a touchdown.
Exactly. 12-3. That was a Mike Leach offense. The offense today for Texas Tech obviously is going to have a better result than that.
That game was 12-3. TCU won it. And they'll take the touchback and take the football to the 25-yard line. And we'll get a look at Seth Dagey, the graduate. Excellent student, and he's turned into an excellent quarterback.
He really has. Dagey is seasoned. He's a veteran that has a lot of starts under his belt, and the thing that he can do is manipulate a defense with his eyes. In this pass offense, they want to run it more effectively today, and because they're down in really 3 out of their top 5 receivers aren't going to play today. So I would think a little more emphasis on the running game at some point in time.
They've lost Javon Bell and Bradley Marquez for the season, and their tremendous tight end, Jay Samaro, not able to play after taking an extremely hard hit in the win over West Virginia last week. And Dagey, a little bit high on the pass. Jason Verrett in coverage that time, number 2 for the purple-clad Horned Frogs. As we show you Tommy Tuberville in his 3rd season at Texas Tech. And no question that last week was the biggest win he has had in Lubbock. And that game wasn't even close.
That was almost a perfect game played on both sides of the ball, especially defensively, where you see the major improvement for Tuberville's team this year.
2nd down and 10. To the flat, and in and out of the hands of running back Kenny Williams. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
And I think if Texas Tech cannot run the football effectively today, they're going to have issues in the pass game, because Gary Patterson's defense on the back end is very complicated, and they're getting very comfortable with one another this year.
Well, there's a clash right there to keep an eye on. Texas Tech, the best in the country in 3rd down conversions at 57%. TCU, pretty nasty. 24% 3rd down. So Dale Foster in the backfield alongside Dagey. Blitz from the edge, picked up. Dagey to take a deep shot. Well covered that time. A little bit of a push actually by the intended receiver, Darren Moore, but Kevin White had him completely walled off.
And that's what I'm talking about on the back end. And Moore is going to the post. Eventually, you can see him on the outside. He's going to break in, but the corner keeps inside leverage, and that's with TCU bringing pressure on that particular play as well. They brought a 5th and 6th guy up front, still got great coverage on the back end.
So TCU forces their 35th 3 and out so far this season. They're averaging almost 6 per game. That's in the top 5 in the NCAA. And Sky Dawson awaits the punt from Ryan Erxleben. Dawson made the first man miss. And that's a tremendous return of almost 14 yards for Sky Dawson. Well, if you're Gary Patterson, a guy who likes to control things, as all head coaches do, can you ask for anything more than this?
He talked about a quick start. Offensive coordinator Jared Anderson talked about a quick start, and a really good start for this young quarterback to gain rhythm and confidence.
And this time it's Matthew Tucker. He is slung down at the 41-yard line. Fans here thought that might have been a horse collar tackle. But Cody Davis, who was the leading tackler for Texas Tech, had a huge game last week against West Virginia.
Cody Davis coming down to fill that alley from his safety position, and I think they had reason to be booing here in the stadium. That looked like a horse collar outside, but Cody Davis, I think, eventually is going to be the guy that TCU targets in that play-action passing game. He's a very good tackler, very aggressive in run support.
And Tucker's had some ankle issues, and you see he checked out of the game. Zone read again by Boykin. He has really got some ability to avoid tacklers and slide safely at the 50-yard line for a first down. Gain of 10.
He might have gone for more than that, but he blew a tire on that first broken tackle. But again, inside, defensive tackle jumps down on the running back, and then it's the ability to get yards after contact. Remember, he was practicing at running back. He's 6'2", almost 220 pounds. He's going to run through arm tackles all day long.
Catalon gets out of the backfield, looks empty, and a diving catch is made for 5. Josh Boyce, his 31st catch of the year. He's an outstanding receiver and actually sees a little bit of time at running back when TCU gets near the goal line. So it's second down and about 5 as Jarvis Phillips made the stop. This time it's Catalon bouncing off one of his blockers. If he can get to the edge, he can really go, but Texas Tech closed it quickly. Third down and about 3.5 coming up. Well, Texas Tech has made some changes. The hiring of Art Kaufman as defensive coordinator, the biggest one. But to go from 114th where they were last year to where they are now, number 4, and they had a lot of players come back too, which certainly helped.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is the front 7 is much more seasoned this year than they were a year ago. But he also simplified things. He said if we can keep it simple, our guys can play fast and play with more confidence. So far, so good.
Out of the empty backfield, Boykin gets rid of it quickly, and it's incomplete. PJ Catalon was the intended receiver. So now do you do the short punt here, Kelly? That appears to be the choice.
And I think Catalon, that young running back who's gotten a lot more time than was expected, needs to get both hands up on that football. Tried to one-hand it. You're not a wide receiver making a play deep in the end zone, young man. Get your both hands on that football.
Ethan Perry, a freshman from Spring Branch, Texas, number 3 in the nation in punting average. Doesn't really want to blast one here, though. Suzalik standing at the 10-yard line. Kicking it into a bit of a breeze. He just racked that. He may not have the soft touch just yet, so it'll be a touchback. And remember, only on kickoffs the touchback to the 25. So had a chance to see Alabama earlier in the year, Kelly, and they look like an NFL team.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. They ought to be playing on Sundays.
Many of them will be. Kenny Williams is the back at the top of the pistol. As we welcome you to Amon G. Carter Stadium on the campus of TCU in Fort Worth. This is a huge Big 12 matchup. Second possession for Texas Tech. TCU drove down the field on their first to take this lead. Both teams ranked in the top 25 of the BCS. Both 2-1 in the Big 12 conference. The winner has a chance for the conference title, while the loser will be thinking about, can we get to 6 wins? Both teams have some monstrous games left on their schedule. I'm Dave Lamont, along with Kelly Stauffer, and we thank you for joining us. What a beautiful day in Fort Worth. No chance of rain, and no chance of that pass being completed. Texas Tech went 3 and out on their first drive. They're facing third down and 8 right here. Pressure from the corner. They go on the ground, and there once again is Verrett. Sadale Foster unable to even get to the line of scrimmage, and it's another 3 and out.
Verrett has been covering man-to-man really well, but this time he's going to fire right off the corner. Very well timed, and it's really a run blitz in the end, but then he pursues the ball, finds the ball. Big play once again, but Verrett is showing up early in this game. Great man-to-man coverage and bump and run outside, kind of to the boundary, but then he fires off the corner and makes a big play on third down.
Sky Dawson's a very dangerous punt returner, 17.4 coming in. He's already had 1 for 14. And this is a line drive punt, and he's just going to wave everybody off. And that's going to be a big roll for Ryan Erxleben. Ball inside the 20, so TCU's third drive begins with their worst field position here on a gorgeous day in Fort Worth. TCU on their first drive went down, and Kelly in 4 plays, they wind up in the end zone.
Yeah, the young quarterback in Boykin makes a nice read and gets it to Sky Dawson, and the young man understands they have to get off to a good start. Well, you throw it like he threw it on that drive, and you run it like he ran it on that drive. That's how he gets himself off to a good start.
This time he starts at the 19-yard line, his own. Andre Dean, a former UCLA Bruin, is now in the backfield. Number 30, he'll get the handoff, and he will be swamped. That's going to be a loss of a couple of yards. Immediate contact by the center of the defense, middle linebacker Will Smith. Both teams impacted by injuries. TCU on the defensive side, as well as Texas Tech. We'll explain in a moment. As Boykin goes deep down the field, and it's going to be incomplete. Not playing today for Texas Tech is their senior cornerback, Cornelius Douglas. So that's going to put Bruce Jones, number 24, into the lineup.
And one of the challenges today is going to see how Boyce and the other wide receivers get off press man-to-man coverage. That was actually more of a bail technique. And that's the other thing that Texas Tech likes to do outside. They will press man, bump and run once in a while, and then bail. The communication between quarterback and receiver is going to have to be very tight today.
3rd down and a dozen. This has been the toughest down and distance for TCU so far, other than 1st and 15, which was on their opening drive, and they overcame it. Boykin flings it, and it's going to be intercepted. That's DJ Johnson, and a chance to score if he gets a block. Gets inside the 10. DJ Johnson with just the 8th takeaway. There's a flag down and around the 19-yard line. Let's see if there was a penalty during the return. Our Big 12 officiating crew is headed by the referee, Cooper Castleberry.
A block below the waist on their intercepting team. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's 1st down.
So that does not change the turnover, and Texas Tech gets their first big break.
Well, Texas Tech was showing pressure initially right here, but they're going to back out, and then eventually the in route into a zone. And I think this is the most difficult thing for the young quarterback. Thinking he's getting pressure, he doesn't get it, and then he throws across the middle of the field late. It actually ended up being man-to-man with the safety deep over the middle. In the end, very well thrown by a young quarterback remaining in the pocket. His receiver in Cam White just did not bail him out on that particular play.
So with the penalty, the ball was marked back at the TCU 33-yard line. Kenny Williams is the running back. And he gets a chance here, try to run him downhill, and he is flipped at the 30-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and 7. Alicia Olabode in there on the stop. Also John Kuntz, and with Mapunga out, John Kuntz getting a chance, number 97 at defensive end, to be the rushing partner of Devontae Fields.
And this is where Gary Patterson's defense have really made hay, is in that quick change type of situation where your offense turns it over. You have to keep the defense either off the board or that offense out of the end zone.
Nagy. And it's going to be caught. 1st down. Is he inbounds? Yes. Adam Suzalik, the senior from Lubbock, with his 4th catch on the season, brought down by Chris Hackett.
Suzalik, the slot receiver, runs the corner route and then breaks it off really to the out route at the very end. The outside receiver was coming inside, and that's a matchup that I think Texas Tech's going to take advantage of.
Short gain there, bring up 2nd down and about 8. I think Foster on the kick.
I think Texas Tech trying to pick up the tempo just a little bit. We were talking at the break that they seem somewhat lethargic, especially offensively. Go up tempo to try to get this team excited and get this ball in the end zone.
My question is, how do you come out lethargic?
Exactly. I don't understand that at all. It's all about the chemistry and makeup of your team, but Texas Tech needs to figure it out.
Could it be a hangover from that win last week? Maybe not. Nice little touch there by Nagy, and inside the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown. Jakeem Grant, did he make it or not? Let's see. No, they're not going to say a touchdown. They're going to say he was out, even though he made contact with the pylon inside the 1, maybe about 6-10 inches away. He got through the grasp of Kenny Kane and nearly got in the end zone.
Yeah, Grant is their scat back, and eventually he's going to be matched up right there over the middle. That's a mismatch. The scat back 5'6", 160-pound Grant, he actually is their fly sweep guy. They get him touches so they can get him out in space.
Watch his hand hit the pylon.
It has to be the ball that hits the pylon, and I think the ball was in the other hand.
And the replay official didn't even bother buzzing down, and Nagy, no gain. In fact, that's a significant loss. Back to the 6-yard line is Joel Hasley, the leading tackler for Dick Bumpus's defense and Gary Patterson's defense, of course. Second down and goal now from about the 6.
But I think you're right, Dave. If Grant would have switched the ball to the inside hand, if the ball hits that pylon at all, if he's not out of bounds with his body first, it's a touchdown. But I think it was his left hand without the football.
But if he switches hands, he's got the wrong hand for technique.
You're right.
Yeah, so tough call for the official, but it's like they made the right one. Field, caught, touchdown. Texas Tech takes advantage of the turnover with Eric Ward getting the 6.
Eric Ward, the receiver right here, eventually is going to go over top after this defender steps down inside. Very well executed, and once again, the quarterback does a great job of drawing attention to the underneath receiver, knowing that he has Ward over the top in the back of the end zone.
6 plays, 33 yards, and 247 set up by the interception by DJ Johnson. And this game shows that Texas Tech may have been lethargic at the beginning, but a gift from TCU, and the Red Raiders take advantage. Eric Ward's 6th touchdown catch of the season. Here's a good look at Amon G. Carter Stadium, which underwent significant renovations over the past couple of years and is just a stunning showplace now for college football, right in the heart of the TCU campus. Boykin, he'll hang on to it and gets spun around and slung down at around the 27-yard line by Dartwan Bush, a junior from Clute, Texas. So it'll be second down, and they're going to give him about 7.5 to go.
We should expect TCU to really want to run the football. I mean, they're very balanced typically anyway, but I think Boykin brings that dimension to the table that the quarterbacks in the past really haven't. He's a dynamic runner. Remember, 2 weeks ago, he was a running back, not a quarterback in that sense. So look for them to accentuate that skill set out of him.
I'm curious to see how he recovers from the adversity of the interception. He'll try to touch pass this one, and Dawson fights off the defensive back, made the catch in midfield, got into Texas Tech territory, but there are flags all over the field.
And when TCU has the advantage outside and Boykin can find the one-on-one matchup, that's exactly what they want to do. The question...
Pass interference by number 21 of the defense. The penalties declined. It's first down.
Offensive coordinator Jared Anderson said the question is whether we can get off bump and run. You can see the bump and run from the inside, and there is absolutely grabbing all over the place by Phillips, number 21, from that inside slot coverage position.
27-yard gain puts it at the 46-yard line of the Red Raiders. Again, Boykin working that zone read. Has some room if he can get all the way to the left, and he just decides, no, that's enough of that. I'll take a big loss. It'll be second down and about 15 here as the Red Raiders forced him out of his comfort zone there.
And this is where Boykin is going to have to realize I'm not in high school anymore. I can make plays like that against guys on Friday night, but Saturday afternoon in this conference, it's few and far between. He has to understand, get as much as you can. Don't always try to hit the home run. Keep yourself in an advantage down in distance position. Mistake by him on that play.
This time he hands it off, and that is a big burst for Andre Dean. Dean inside the 20, he'll be hit, and down at the 15-yard line. Andre Dean, who had a part of a huge rushing attack last week, 248 against Baylor, gets a big first down and a gain of 37.
The advantage of having a quarterback that can keep it is people actually forget about the running backs that they can carry right here. Those guys are very good up inside. They've been banged up, but they're starting to hit their stride, and Dean is a big-time player that's just finally, as a senior, coming into his own.
Senior from Katy, Texas, had been at UCLA, didn't like things after Rick Neuheisel was let go and transferred back. DJ Catalan, and Very little there as the middle of the Texas Tech defense bows up. So call it maybe a half a yard. Second down and still about 9.
And I think TCU's advantage in running the football are plays that include Boykin as an option. If they just lather up and try to run it up inside, Tech's defensive front 7 is much more mature and physical this year than a year ago. Include your quarterback as a viable option, and this running game has opportunities here this afternoon.
Matthew Tucker now, number 29. He'll slip out of the backfield for their pass, but there is no pass. Not sure if Boykin, and he seems to be a little bit shaken up as he was brought down by Kerry Hyder, a player that we identified earlier as somebody with an impact in this game, and he looked like he was pounding the turf. That might just have been in frustration, not pain.
Yeah, he actually looked a little hobbled on a couple plays before. We'll need to keep an eye on that, but Hyder is the guy coming from the inside. He's the disruptor from that 3-technique defensive tackle position, and something didn't look right on that play. Boyce didn't even move, and Sky Dawson acted like he was going to block for a bubble screen and then went to the corner.
Third down and 15, and 0 for 2 third down so far for TCU. There's a bubble screen right there, caught by Boyce, and he won't get anywhere near the first down. So the Texas Tech defense, after being gashed by the long run by Andre Dean, comes back. Pete Robertson, one-time linebacker, now playing defensive end. There he is right there, number 10, in there on the tackle. So the first time we'll see Jaden Oberchrome, who's 8 for 10 this year, the freshman kicker, not too far away, Arlington, Texas. 32 yards for Oberchrome, who hasn't missed a PAT this season. And he nails it there. So a 32-yarder for Oberchrome. TCU, what have you seen so far that stood out to you?
I like the young quarterback. I think he's really found his groove a little bit from that first start that was a little bit shaky. And I think defensively, Tech was kind of on their heels. They looked much better on that last drive.
So Dale Foster gets it out to the 26-yard line. There is a flag down behind that return. And this game carries a lot of impact. Both these teams 2-1. Texas Tech coming in off that gigantic domination of West Virginia.
Number 86 on the return team. Penalties half the distance to the goal, and it's the first down. And
that little shake of the head by Tommy Tuberville says it all. You talked at the beginning of the broadcast how they seemed, Texas Tech, to be a little bit lethargic. Do you get that sense now?
I think there seems to be a little more energy, but this is kind of their MO, and we can't really explain it. There's no reason for it. A huge win a week ago, and they looked lethargic today. Remember Oklahoma last year, a huge upset, and then they looked abysmal the rest of the year. No real explanation, but they need to pick it up early.
They didn't win another game after beating Oklahoma last season, and of course every Texas Tech fan just threw their remote at the TV for us bringing that up, but it was a bad way to end what might have been a good year. So with the penalty, bad field position for the Red Raiders. They're at their own 6-yard line, and they've got to hurry and get the snap off. They do. Playing it safe on the ground with Eric Stevens Jr., and he is hit after picking up a couple of yards. It'll be second down and about 8. Stevens coming off a disastrous knee injury a year ago in the game against Texas A&M, and sometimes lines up as the Wildcat, but in this case he's just trying to get him out of trouble.
And TCU and Gary Patterson's approach is basically to snuff out the run and then to force offenses to make hay in a complicated system on the back end, and TCU hasn't let anybody run the football on them this year. And
they're not going to run the football on them in the final seconds of this quarter either. It's going to be a long jog for both teams to get down to the other end. TCU scored on their first drive and then gave it up, allowing Texas Tech to get what was a tying score until TCU was able to come back to get the field goal. We've seen some good quarterback play and some spotty quarterback play from both Boykin. When you think about football in Texas and all the rivalries, this used to be a regular meet back in the old Southwest Conference days. Texas Tech and TCU battle regularly. Of course, the Southwest Conference no longer. You lose track of the names after a while, but we know it now as the Big 12. And both coaches talking about this game and the significance of it, and also the fan bases. Folks from Lubbock coming in there. There's a good example right there. And a Texas Tech and a TCU student side by side. A lot of red in here, but it's dominated by the purple. Second and 8. Stevens clears out of the backfield. And underneath, and Barrett has had a great start to the game as he makes the stop on Grant. There you see the series history. They have not met since '06. Of course, now they're going to meet every year. Texas Tech leads the all-time series, and it goes back to the 1920s. And since that Southwest Conference came apart in '95, it's just the second time they have played. Third down and about 4. Nagy taking plenty of time here, Kelly. May have changed the play. He's got trips to his left. And it's going to be third down and 9.
A false start by number 65 of the offense. The 5-yard penalty, and it's still third down.
A little bit of confusion there?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was trying to get out of the play to take advantage of the pressure that TCU was going to bring, but the young man outside and Waddle just couldn't quite hold his water, and you flinch a little bit at 3:30, a whole lot moves.
Third down and 9. Handles the high snap. They'll go on the ground. Stevens has a little bit of room here, but maybe made one too many steps. And Alessio Olabode in there on the stop, the junior from Cedar Hill, Texas.
And Olabode is that safety that has to fill that alley once he knows that the running back has the ball. And this is very important. Tackling against Texas Tech is huge. Not only their slot receivers that get yards after the catch, but it's also yards after contact by those speed backs, of which Eric Stevens is one.
So Ryan Erxleben standing in between the F and the R and Frogs, kicking to Sky Dawson. We talked already that he is very dangerous, but Erxleben's averaging 55 yards his first 2 punts. But Dawson is lightning fast. Gets to the 35, inside there to the 32, maybe even the 31-yard line. We can see why Sky Dawson has such a gaudy average of 17 yards per return. That one, 21. This is Stauffer speed.
And he really trusted his blockers up front. It was almost like running a zone play. It wasn't a return middle, right, or left. It was actually just get a hat on a hat and then let Dawson create his own space. And he's obviously really, really good at that.
TCU, with this crowd already jacked up, went 4 plays, 75 yards for the opening touchdown. But that turnover allowed Texas Tech to get back in this football game at a point when it looked like it wasn't going to happen for them, at least early on. Gave them a rallying point. And that's going to be second down after the run by Catalan. Picked up 4 there, so we'll call it second down and 6. When you think about this game, I know we can't think about it without the turnover, but that's the only time that Texas Tech has really done anything on offense, was that short drive.
You're right. I think they're having a difficult time figuring out what Gary Patterson and that defense is doing on the other side. They're defending the run well, but they're also playing really good coverage on the back end.
Dean clears out. They stay on the ground with Catalan. He gets across the 25. Now we're looking at third down and about 2.5 yards. Look, it's in between the 23 and 24 yard lines.
And that's exactly what offensive coordinator Jared Anderson wants, is just make good decisions from the quarterback position and put us in a position to move the chains on third down. This is third and extremely manageable right here.
Maybe Boykin to run here?
I like that a lot. If not, at least the threat to run has a big impact on the defense.
And instead he hands it off to Dean, and Dean will not get there. You see 16, Cody Davis. And he is joined by Dartwan Bush. So now here's an interesting call if you're Gary Patterson. 4th down and a yard.
TCU gets big and brings in a couple of tight ends, actually an extra running back and another tight end, and try to mush it up in there. But I think Gary Patterson knows that he's probably going to need more points than this, so they're going for it right here.
These are two defensive-oriented teams in an offensive-oriented conference on 4th downs this year. 6 out of 13 TCU.
And Boykin underneath center for the first time today.
And hang on, is it called timeout?
TCU calls their first time out of the half.
So that's a look that TCU wasn't comfortable with. We'll see their decision when we return. Here we go with 4th and 1, we think. Full backfield. And the extra effort may have done it by Matthew Tucker. We saw Tucker limp off a little bit earlier, and he does get the first down.
And it was actually the same play. They ran on 3rd and short. After the 2 timeouts, they went to something totally different. Just the zone read. You get the stop play by the defensive end, the give up inside. Not very well blocked, but tremendous effort by Tucker to convert at the end.
So a fresh set of downs at the 20-yard line for TCU, a team that 17 touchdowns out of 30 appearances in the red zone coming into the game.
The ruling on the field that there was enough yardage made for a first down. The previous play is under further review.
Aha. So the replay official, David Ames, wants to take a little bit of a closer look. It appeared to us at first blush that he made it.
Yeah, I think the second effort, right there, he wasn't going to get it. Right there, I think he has it, but certainly the extension at the end, he goes almost down to the 15-yard line. I think that's or the 20-yard line. I think that's a no-brainer.
But here's the thing. If you saw his knee, I think he got it, but they may bring the ball back a little bit. It looked like...
I think you might be right, but it's certainly no question whether he got enough for the first down or not.
Yeah, I think he did. I agree with you there, because you could see before his knee hit, he was at the marker, and the ball was at the marker. So we'll get a couple of good looks at it right here.
And Tucker represents that dependable factor that they've been lacking in the backfield. I don't see a knee down right there. I think it's ball and then backside. I think that's marked pretty accurately at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, now that I look at it again, I think you're right. I think that the officials were dead on the field.
But Dave, remember what TCU thought they would have at their disposal.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
Yeah, confirmed, so they were very certain about it, but they expected to have Ed Wesley, who is no longer in school. Then Wayman James went down with a knee injury against Kansas early in the year. Tucker has been dinged up this year. If Tucker can get back and get healthy, along with Boykin, the running game's on the table.
Boykin's got all kind of time. Everybody is covered, and so Boykin will take off and take a shot knocked out of bounds. Let's go to Robert Flores with the Sports Center right now. Robert? Now, we were watching the LSU Texas A&M game with great interest. Now we've got one here we're watching with great interest. 2nd down and 3 following the Boykin run. And hold on everything. It'll be 2nd down and 8 following the false start.
A false start by number 66 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 2nd down.
Well, this offense had been fairly rhythmic up to this drive, and they've fallen off the edge of the earth.
Well, I want to ask you about Boykin on that last play. He appeared like he went through every read conceivable and then decided to take off. And I thought that was a good decision because he didn't try to force anything.
Yeah, I think in the end it was probably a good decision. Where he was late was a seam route by Carter, wide open down the middle, but I think he was still outside in his progression and didn't see the wide open receiver running down the middle of the field.
Boykin's just in his 3rd start as the quarterback for Gary Patterson's Horned Frogs, and he gets down to the 15-yard line. Casey Paul was the starting quarterback when the season began, but he ran into some difficulties off the field and ended up leaving the team to go into rehab. We wish him well. And so
the route is all on this side of the field right here, but I think this is the problem that Boykin has. How quickly does he get through the progression, and can he find the open guy? The open guy was outside as his outlet receiver, and he simply got off his outlet way too early.
Empty backfield on 3rd and 5. We haven't had a 3rd down conversion yet until now. Getting inside the 5-yard line is Josh Boyce, the junior from Copperas Cove, Texas, brought down by Eugene Nebo. Inside the 5, 1st and goal TCU.
And Boykin was very good last week, and Boyce is on the outside and is going to come in and just try to convert those natural picks. The 2 inside receivers going outside, and Boyce finds the void inside. last week against Baylor, that's where the young quarterback Boykin was really, really solid.
Unbelievable numbers
Look
on
at
third
that.
down.
That's unreal.
Yeah, that's something that not even an Aaron Rodgers can pull off all that often. I'm sure he has. First look on first and goal into the end zone is Matthew Tucker. Straight ahead, good old-fashioned dive play. And TCU opens up a 9-point lead.
And Tucker is that drive finisher that this run offense for TCU has lacked. That might be reviewed as well, although the kick is going off right now, so we're not going to see it anyway.
That was as fast as you can get a PAT team out
Run
there, man.
tempo on the point after touchdown.
I don't care what the replay official may have thought or what we may have thought. It's a touchdown in the books for Matthew Tucker, his second rush touchdown on the season. And TCU has command up by 10. Bit of a breezy day. The last couple of days it's been eerily calm, but now some of the famed Texas winds kicking up a little bit here, and for the second time the ball has gone off the tee.
I think the second time they make the kicker kick the ball on the ground. We don't need that kind of delay.
Now trotting in the holder here. Dale Foster and Jordan Davis back deep. No matter who holds it, whether it's a T or a human, it is a touchback. There's a flag down, however, at the 40-yard line. So hang on a second. Maybe we have an offsides.
Offsides on the kicking team. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's first down.
All right, we talked a little bit about Casey Paul Hall. Here's the whole story that Gary Patterson and his staff had to deal with. Paul Hall was suspended indefinitely. He was hit on a suspicion of DWI charge and has entered a rehab facility. Did so about 10 days ago. What does it mean for TCU? Well, he saw the start he got off to statistically, and he was a great quarterback for them last year as well. So what turmoil that TCU had to deal with, this coming in the middle of a game week prior to Iowa State.
Yeah, 2 days before they kicked off that game. That was unbelievable.
Now it's Texas Tech trying to deal with some turmoil, and Diggy is able to, and that tackle comes way out of bounds, and there's a flag, but the flag is at the 20-yard line. Zuzalik made the catch. But let's see what the flag is first.
Personal foul, roughing the passer by number 36 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Joel Hasley, the middle linebacker, or actually one of two linebackers in this 4-2-5 alignment of Gary Patterson's hit with that. It was Jonathan Anderson who tackled Zuzalik about 5 yards out of bounds. No flag was thrown there, but Diggy took a hit, and now Texas Tech suddenly, with that completion and the penalty, is at the TCU 45-yard line. And Diggy hit as he throws that time. Great read by the receiver, Darren Moore, but there's a flag down. He may have pushed off.
Yeah, I think you might be right. The underthrown fade route, and Moore, I think the big-bodied receiver pushed off of number 25, Kevin White, on that particular play. I think you got it exactly right.
Pass interference by number 14 of the offense. The 15-yard penalty and replay first down.
Kelly, what happened is I don't think this throw was deliberately underthrown, but Diggy got popped as he threw it.
Yeah, it just caught some air. You can see the matchup down here, and at the very end, it's going to be well underthrown, and the big receiver and Moore just kind of pushes off somewhat instinctively right there at the very end. When your feet are stopping, sometimes as a receiver, your hands go out, and Diggy's starting to get some pressure in the pocket. TCU's getting to him, just rushing four up front.
So now it's 1st and 25, and they're back in their own territory, are the Red Raiders at the 40. Empty backfield. Middle of the field is open, and a big saving tackle that time by Jonathan Anderson. And Kelly, we had a long talk about this yesterday, that the TCU defense, sometimes the middle of the field is vulnerable.
Yeah, and receiver's going to come into here, and you're right. If it isn't for the sure tackle from Anderson, the safety right on the hash, this goes for a touchdown. And I think that's the combo type of routes where the routes are being adjusted by the receivers on the fly. Right now, youngsters on the back end for TCU can drop communication.
2nd and 12 after the 13-yard gain, and there is Zuzalik again. Hackett on the shove out of bounds. That's going to be a first down for the Red Raiders. Inside the 35 down to the 33.
That has your name written all over it.
Well, it's not me is the answer, that's for sure. Dagey now going for the end zone. Moore battling again. Makes the catch, and he is in. He and Kevin White hand fighting for position down there. No flags. 31 yards. We have certainly learned that Darren Moore is a physical receiver.
Yeah, 6'4", almost 220 pounds, and Dagey does a nice job of pinpointing who's matched up man-to-man, the fade right outside, and if the prior one was pass interference offensively, that one certainly was. You can see the left hand push off by White on White right at the very end. I think Moore got away with one.
Ryan busted in now for the PAT. So it's a 4-play, 71-yard drive, and we wondered how Texas Tech can respond to adversity. And so far, they've done a nice job coming back to make this a 3-point game with another touchdown pass for Seth Dagey. Only Geno Smith has thrown more coming into today's game. Maybe this is going to be a typical Big 12 game after all. All the talk of these two teams having their outstanding defenses. But there you see Texas Tech able to come back on a 4-play, 71-yard drive. Darren Moore, who factored against his team with an offensive pass interference penalty, caught the touchdown from Seth Dagey. Dagey was only trailing Geno Smith for most touchdown passes thrown this season.
And I think that's a matchup that we need to keep our eye on. More on Kevin White, number 25, I think is what Dagey likes right now.
Dagey now 23 touchdowns and an onside kick. So Tommy Tuberville goes into the playbook, waiting for a signal. Texas Tech says they have it. And so do the officials. Well, that's not something you expect.
And I think Texas Tech has finally gotten the wake-up call. They've looked like they're playing with a lot more energy. Very well executed right there. Remember, it has to go 10 yards, and TCU comes in and touches it right before that point, and then the ball comes out. Very well executed. The element of surprise by Texas Tech.
That was a nice job by the kicker, Kramer Fife, because he's the one who broke it up and allowed it to be recovered by Texas Tech. And it looked like that was Summit Hogue who may have gotten that. So look at this from the 49-yard line, first down and 10. And Dagey will take off. He had a little bit of success running against West Virginia's defense last week. Flag down behind the play. Dagey gets into TCU territory, but let's see what the flag is. A little trash talking now going on between the TCU bench and some of the Texas Tech
number
players.
68 is the offense. The 10-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
That's on Terry McDaniel, the senior.
I think it was holding number 57, Pearson, the defensive tackle for TCU. A lot of times when a quarterback gets outside the pocket somewhat unexpectedly, that's what you see out of the in man on the line of scrimmage, the tackles. Outside right there, you have to know when to hold them. You have to know when to let them go. And the big boy outside, McDaniels, didn't quite get the memo.
I'm just so happy you didn't say know when to fold them.
I would not do that to you.
First down at 20. Dagey now 9 of his last 10 with 2 touchdowns. Make it 10 of 11. Not a touchdown here, but a nice pass to Darren Moore. Not afraid to go across the middle. And they get a little bit of that penalty yardage back to the 47-yard line. It'll be second down and about 13 to go. It's Chris Hackett, the weak safety, which does not apply his ability, but his position on the field made the stop.
Well, early in this game, Dagey was trying to find 18 Eric Ward, and right now he likes what he's seeing out of Darren Moore on the other side. Eric Ward was matched up on Verrett, and Verrett has totally shut him down. This is Verrett down on Moore at the bottom of the screen now.
Looking left, now looking toward Moore again, but throws over the umpire in a diving catch made by number 3, Tyson Williams. About 4 yards, make it 3 yards short of the marker at the 44-yard line, so it's third down and 3.
And those receivers that are going to get more time, Tyson Williams is one of them today, they have to come up big because Marquez, who is out for the year, and Javon Bell, who is also out for the year, represented the speed element in this wide receiver core. Other guys have to step up other than Ward, number 18, and number 14, Darren Moore.
They go Wildcat with Eric Stevens on 3rd down and 3. And we have whistles and a timeout. Red Raiders.
Texas Tech calls their second timeout of the half.
Texas Tech 0 for 3 on 3rd downs. TCU just 1 out of 5. Sling and Sammy, and there you see the indoor practice bubble that is over to our right. A beautiful facility. They're going to be adding some air conditioning to that in another year or so, maybe even less, as the facilities here at TCU have taken a jump up.
Still in the Wildcat by Stevens, you can see right there, dotting the I.
And instead, it looks like Foster. And if that's the case, he has the first down at the 40-yard line. So Sadale Foster, the junior college transfer, and that is an interesting point. Tommy Tuberville and his staff, 11 junior college transfers on this team. Not all of them play right away, but here's one of them who has made an impact.
You're right, and Stevens is normally the guy, and he was the guy before the timeout, but Foster, nice play right there to convert.
So they get back in at quarterback, number 7, drifting back, has a man open, and underthrew the pass, it's intercepted. Kevin White, and he couldn't hang on. He had it, and he could not hang on. Oh, Gary Patterson knows what might have been.
Daggy had what he wanted. You can see the 2 verticals outside. The safety jumps on the inside vertical. You're right. Kevin White played it extremely well, except for one thing, you need to finish. That ball was underthrown again by Daggy on that particular play.
He had him. Marcus Kennard had a step on the DB there. 2nd down and 10. And Daggy, a little clumsy with the snap. He's going to have to improvise. And that little fake there, that was cute. Picked up some yards with that. He got 5 out of that, maybe even 6. We'll see if they mark him out of bounds at the 34 or the 35. They're going to say the 35, Kelly. So it's 3rd down and 5. Verrett ran him out of bounds.
Josh Caraway, number 35, is that defensive end that's playing today because Stanley Mapunga is out. They pulled the red shirt off of number 35 and are going to let him play today. He's the one that lost contain on the quarterback on that particular play.
And he becomes the 16th true freshman to play this year for TCU, and that is tops in the NCAA. Daggy, and there's Moore again, and that is just past the marker. That's going to be a first down for the big receiver from Irving, Texas. And one more time, Verrett, who's having a heck of a game, on the stop.
Yeah, Verrett on the coverage. They decided not to try him up the field on fades and verticals, but run slants underneath and see if he can cover that. Actually, that was very well thrown, very well caught by the receiver, but Verrett had nice coverage also.
On first down, nice pocket for Daggy to go deep toward the end zone, and an unbelievable grab is made by Eric Ward, out of bounds. They're going to rule him out of bounds. Well, this is exactly what Gary Patterson said was going to happen. Once they got inside the 40, they were going to take their shots.
Yeah, they dink and dunk, and then they play jump ball with those big receivers, and I think he certainly possessed it. But he came down, I believe, out of bounds. That is going to be tough to tell.
Incomplete pass out of bounds. Previous play is under further review.
Side judge is right there.
It's extremely important always to remember how it was called initially. It was ruled out of bounds. I don't know that we're going to see anything that will allow them to have the video evidence.
Yep, that's exactly it. It's got to be indisputable video evidence, and I'm not sure that's going to happen here. It's an unbelievable catch.
Oh, yeah. The great job by the quarterback, Daggy, just giving his receiver a chance to make a play on the ball in the end zone, but does his elbow, his right elbow, come down before his body rolls out of bounds?
That just might be cutting it too fine, Kelly.
I wonder,
there. Yeah.
Oh, my.
You cannot blame the side judge, by the way. If this gets overturned, he did the best he can do. That is tough.
The word is indisputable video evidence that they have to have, and good luck with that. right there. Look at.
Okay.
There we go.
Yep.
That's the perfect shot. Great work, guys. That is it. I think that's a touchdown.
I do now. Now you sold it.
He had possession. He took the ball out of bounds.
It's not going to go over very well to this crowd, though.
No, it really isn't.
It's going to put Texas Tech in front if the call is reversed.
So really, that epitomizes what replay is for.
Yeah.
I mean, we get the right camera angle, and remember, there isn't any magic camera at home. The replay booth sees exactly what the fans see and what we see in the booth, and we saw an elbow on the ground denotes possession in bounds. I think this is going to be overturned. And a lot of purple people are not going to be happy about it.
After further review, the receiver's right elbow landed inbounds before he landed out of bounds. It's a touchdown.
Well, there's just a lot of noise in the stadium, period. And there's a few folks in red and black who are pretty happy with this 29-yard touchdown catch.
Very well done all the way around by a great play by Ward to come down with that. Pretty good defense by White. Impeccable job by the officiating crew. That was tough to tell, but they got it right at the end. And I noticed they weren't showing that in the stadium here as that we went to break.
No, they're not going to either. 7 plays, 51 yards, and what's this? Texas Tech has come back, and for the first time, they have the lead in this game. It is a Big 12 football game. Teams throwing it around and moving up and down the field. Eric Ward with a spectacular play. He knew he had it. My elbow. It was my elbow. Kelly Stauffer said my elbow. Tommy Tuberville's Red Raiders trying to avoid what happened to them last year. They had a big midseason victory against a highly ranked team, and they knocked off Oklahoma and then didn't win another game the rest of the season. Last week, they knocked off West Virginia. They did more than that. They dominated West Virginia, and now here they are with their first lead this afternoon in a Big 12 game against TCU. And a short kickoff taken at the 18-yard line by Josh Boyce. He's a good runner. Flag is down behind the play. Boyce will get into Texas Tech territory, but it may well be erased. And you can see one of the officials coming in with a holding call right there.
Holding on number 14 on the return team. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's first down.
Well, how did Texas Tech get ahead as that 37-yard return is wiped out? It's our All-State good hands play, and that certainly sums up this catch.
Yeah, what a tremendous catch. A nice throw. The quarterback, Diggy, does a nice job of giving Ward an opportunity at the end. And it was one right elbow down before his buttocks and feet were out of bounds. Very nice catch, but also very well officiated.
That was the All-State good hands and good elbow play. We're able to tuck that elbow down.
And whatever it takes, Dave, as long as it's a touchdown in the end.
You quarterbacks, man.
Hey.
That's 3 touchdown passes now for Daggy, by the way, and that gives him 24 on the year. B.J. Catalan is the running back. Boykin fakes it to him and dumps it underneath 30-yard line, now in the shadow. Another tackle by Cody Davis. We have a visit with Robert Flores in the studio. Robert? All right, so we come off of that, Robert. Thank you very much. And here at Fort Worth at Amon G. Carter Stadium at TCU, there's your score and time. And it's going to be 3rd down and about a yard to go. And we have a TCU lineman injured on the play. Total yards by quarter. Texas Tech did very little. We talked at the beginning of the show. They appeared lethargic. That is no longer the case. And that's Big Blaze Foltz who's getting up. A weight room destroyer. A young man who squats 800 pounds and benches 580.
That's unbelievable.
I can't.
I mean, that's like a small village somewhere in the country.
Can he? How long does it take just to set up the bench for 580 pounds?
I don't believe it's worth your time.
It's 3rd and 1. You see TCU numbers on 3rd down, and Boykin reads, "I'll keep it," and he did get the first down. He got the 35 before he driven back. How about Cody Davis in there with another tackle for Texas Tech, along with Sam Aguavin?
And Cody not only supports incredibly fast, but he is one of the most sure tacklers that I've seen in college football this year.
He is a senior from Stevensville, Texas. From the empty look, Boykin throws, caught, and, well, there you go.
Yeah.
One more time for Davis. The catch was made by Catalan. The first man missed him. Not the case with Cody Davis. Second down and a couple.
And because of his desire to support the run, I would expect them to target him in the play-action passing game. We haven't seen that yet.
They go underneath again, and that's going to be a first down. Eugene Nebo smothered the receiver, who was Josh Boyce, but a good throw by Boykin and a fine catch by Boyce. You see TCU with 2 timeouts and 1:38 to go, and now the clock is rolling. Boykin, sidearm slinger, and there is another tackle for Cody Davis, but there is another first down as Sky Dawson, who's had an outstanding first half for TCU, makes the first down catch.
Where Boykin has really grown is what he's able to do in the pocket, get through your progression, and then throw the ball with confidence. Boom, right there. You can see the sidearm slinger a little bit, but I don't mind that as long as you're accurate on the other end.
Dawson has 5 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown, plus he's been a force on punt returns. And Boykin, high kick, beautiful job. The grab by Brandon Carter. And another first down, but Carter is injured. Got it inside the 25-yard line. Talented sophomore from Euless, Texas. And he's going to try to get out as fast as he can.
And Texas Tech is trying to change up between man-to-man principles on the back end, which this is, the deep safety with man-to-man all over the place, and that one was a high, hard one. Carter made an outstanding catch.
One thing, Kelly, Tech is not getting any pressure on Boykin. He fires that one. That's into the shadows and incomplete. The intended receiver was Dawson. It was Cody Davis in coverage. Second down and 10. And the clock is stopped with 39 seconds remaining in this half. This was the previous play with Carter, and it was kind of an awkward fall after a little bit of a shove by the nickelback Trey Porter. Hopefully we'll get this young man back in the game.
Looking like pressure right there. They like it outside, man-to-man.
And a little bit of heat, but it's picked up nicely to the end zone. He overthrew him. Incomplete. 3rd and 10 is next. Sky Dawson had a step, and not surprisingly, the guy has been clocked at 10.29 in the 100 meters.
And Boykin actually had his choice of Dawson, which is the one he chose right here, but Boyce was one-on-one outside as well. The heat inside the pocket, pretty well protected. That ball was long gone. And remember, that's the wind at his back, and he didn't account for that, and that ball went well over Dawson on that play.
So 3rd down and 10. There's a little bit of a late hit low on Boykin after the throw, but no flag. And Boykin scrambling into the end zone and missed his man. Overthrew it for Josh Boyce. Coverage that time by Eugene Nebo. So the Texas Tech defense stands tall, and that will bring out the kicker, Jaden Obercrom.
That's one of the last things that young quarterbacks get is touch, especially in the red zone where you need to throw the ball with finesse at times. Those last 2 passes were driven well over the receivers' heads.
Obercrom is 1 for 1 today. This one from 41. No problem. So Jaden Obercrom continues to have his fine freshman season, and a lot may depend on what happens with the kickoff, but they haven't run any back yet. I believe they've all been touchbacks so far by this outstanding freshman Obercrom, number 33 for TCU. 22 seconds and a timeout is all that Tommy Tuberville's Red Raiders have. And once again, we lose the ball off the tee, and so once again, TCU will have to bring out the holder, Deontay Gray. They'd leave it to a freshman, of course.
Yeah.
They're not going to put a senior out
delay
there.
Things, you're right.
Yeah.
But this ball with his strong legs should go to Arlington.
Well, I mean a freshman to hold it, too. In other words, you're not going to bring a senior out to hold.
You're asking for trouble, asking a freshman to hold the ball like this.
Well, the first time he did it. And as soon as we talk him into a touchback, man, does he have a leg. This appears to be a conservative call by Texas Tech, understandably, from the 25-yard line, just to go ahead and take a knee and get out of there. They are ahead by 1 point. It's been a fun first half. We can't wait to see what's going to happen in half number 2. Tommy Tuberville's Red Raiders and Gary Patterson's TCU. Horned Frogs trying to get to 3-1 in the Big 12 and be in the race with K-State. Good football, 2 good defenses, but it's been an offense-dominated game. Both quarterbacks slinging it around the field. Good news for the fans of these two teams. They'll be playing every year now that TCU has joined the Big 12. At halftime, Texas Tech with a 1-point advantage over TCU. With Kelly Stauffer, I'm Dave Lamont. Kelly, 2 top defenses in the Big 12 statistically, and yet it's been all about the 2 quarterbacks in this game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think the first quarter was a good defensive quarter. I think the adjustment went to the offenses in the second quarter. Both quarterbacks are actually doing what they need to do for their teams to win. We'll see how the second half plays out.
Texas Tech will get the football first. And the interesting thing here is also, if you take a look at the numbers, the shadows now in the stadium here at Amon G. Carter are certainly going to be a factor for this mid-afternoon coming in the evening game. It's a good look at what you see. And this happened rather dramatically during the halftime show, which was a tick longer than normal. So we'll see how these players handle the sun and the shade combination. We're going to get a touchback here, and it'll be at the 25-yard line for Texas Tech. And let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
I think Boykin has been efficient. That one interception was actually not his fault. It bounced off the hands of the receiver. And TCU wants to be balanced. And they've ran the ball pretty efficiently in the first half. We'll see what they get done in the second half. And Deji has been extremely efficient. 13 of 18, 3 touchdowns.
Well, here's an interesting stat. And, of course, TCU doesn't have the ball right now. But just to go with what you said, Texas Christian, 46 wins in a row when they have more rushing than passing yards. At the moment, they have more passing than rushing. Keep an eye on that for later. Meantime, Daggy for Texas Tech into traffic, and a tremendous catch made by Darren Moore. And even though Texas Tech, for a short game, even though Texas Tech is missing Javon Bell, Bradley Marquez, who are out for the season, 2 wide receivers, and their great tight end, Jay Samaro, the other receivers have indeed stepped up.
They have, and I think the veteran quarterback in Daggy that's where you see his leadership. He has to go to other guys and get them involved in this game plan here this afternoon.
See what's missing from the Texas Tech lineup. No gain, the officials decide on that play, so it's 2nd and 10.5 or so. Make it 10. Daggy is sacked. Oh, he took that shot in the middle of the field. Devontae Fields, his first sack of the game, leads the Big 12. He's got 7.5 now.
Well, you have Fields off the edge, but you also have pressure by Pearson in the middle. They actually loop. Up inside comes Fields, and Pearson goes outside. Very well disguised line stunt by TCU right there.
Yeah, they may get a half a sack because Pearson was certainly in the middle of that. It's now 3rd down and 20. TCU playing without Stanley Maponga. Their outstanding defensive end. It was making life easier for Fields. And that's a nice run to get out of trouble by Eric Stevens. Not going to get the first down, but going to make it a little bit easier on the punter, Ryan Erksleben, particularly with TCU's return game.
Yeah, more of a maintenance type of run to gain a little additional yardage for the punt team, like you said, Dave. But that's how you have to manage this game. You're in a bad position. Go ahead and punt it away and then see if your defense can do something in this second half.
But watch out here for Sky Dawson, number 11 for TCU. Averaging 17 per return and has been really good today. Low kick. He may have to let this one go. It's tempting. Yeah, he couldn't resist. And it's going to be at the 21-yard line. He had waved off everybody, and after the 56-yard punt, which was primarily roll, it'll be TCU ball at the 21. The speed of Devontae Fields, and TCU's defense holds on the first set. There is Sky Dawson. Caused some confusion on that last punt. Kelly, he never made a fair catch signal, but they blew the play dead.
Yeah, the line judge came in and blew this dead as if he had fair caught this ball. It obviously was not the distinctive wave your one hand above your head right there. I don't know what the confusion was basically on the line judge right there.
So to the 21-yard line is where that gets us a short gain. 2nd and 7. For Trevon Boykin, number 2, the quarterback now for this TCU team of Gary Patterson's. Casey Paul suspended for the remainder of the season. That's going to be incomplete. 3rd down and 7 coming up. Corey Fuller, graduate, playing at tight end, was the intended receiver there. We can talk to Gary Patterson about the impact this had on his team, and I thought his answer was very interesting. What he said is that he's had problems in the past and felt that he didn't handle it well. Thought he emphasized it too much, and it's kind of that next man up philosophy, and try to move forward as fast as they can rather than dwell. That is nearly a catch along the sideline. A flag is down at the 40-yard line. Josh Boyce almost made a remarkable one-handed catch. Bruce Jones, who's replacing the injured Cornelius Douglas for Texas Tech, in coverage.
Holding by number 12 of the defense. It's a 10-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
That's the safety, DJ Johnson. That's going to be a 1st down for TCU.
Yeah, and it was actually inside right there on Sky Dawson, grabbing him as Dawson tried to come out of that break and get to the corner. Good call by the official right there.
Yeah, not much you can miss about that. And
no.
Dawson was helping him, too, by waving his hand around just in case he missed it. Gary Patterson has dealt with issues before. He had some off-season problems that affected his team in February. So this is just another hurdle for TCU to have to overcome. B.J. Catalon. Another thing I like what Patterson said is Catalon picks up about 4, 2nd and 6, is he seems to think that his team does better when they're backed into a corner.
Yeah, when they play with a chip on their shoulder, somewhat like where he coaches from. He coaches with that chip, and you can see that they're kind of rallying behind this really obscure situation where they've had to deal with this adversity, and I wouldn't be surprised if this team plays really well down the stretch.
Well, good luck with that stretch, by the way, because it doesn't get much easier after. In fact, it doesn't get easier at all after today. On 2nd and 5, the receiver trying to get to the 1st down marker, and he will do so. That's Brandon Carter making the grab at the 45-yard line. How tough is the remainder of TCU's schedule? Well, again, Texas Tech is a fine football team at Stillwater, at West Virginia, Kansas State, who's unbeaten, at Texas around Thanksgiving week, and then, Oklahoma to wrap all of that up.
And so really it becomes a situation where if you lose this game, you have to look for ways to become bowl eligible the rest of the year.
Yeah, you got to get to 6 to do that. Boykin on the keeper. He did a lot of that in the first half. He picks up 4 there, just shy of midfield. It'll be 2nd down and 6. He had 1 rushing touchdown on the route over Baylor, where TCU struggled in the first half but played a very good second half, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. But Boykin accounted for 5 touchdowns in that win.
And that's why they played so well offensively. I think Boykin really started to get settled in that second half against Baylor, especially converting on 3rd down, not with his feet, but by throwing the football.
He was 13 for 13 in 3rd downs in that game. 3rd down conversions today for TCU. 2 for 7. And that's a lateral. That's a loose football. Let's see who got it. TCU says they do. That might have been Andre Dean, number 30, who got in there. Unfortunately for TCU, that was almost a disaster. And they got it back.
First time we've seen the speed option where Boykin just takes the ball, options off the in man on the line of scrimmage. Texas Tech hasn't defended really well, but I think it was Dean, you're right, getting back in there and saving them a big headache on this drive right here.
So it's 3rd down and 10 following that recovery by the senior from Katy, Texas. They send Dawson in motion. He takes off deep. They're throwing to the middle of the field. A lot of bodies in there, and that is intercepted, taken by Cody Davis. Ladarius Brown, number 85, was the intended receiver, but there were a lot of people down there, Kelly.
Yeah, it was very well defended. I think Boykin throws a decent ball, giving his guys a chance to go up and make a play on the end, and actually it's Texas Tech that makes the better play. Batted up in the air by Johnson, picked off by Davis, but at the end of the day on 3rd and long, that's not a bad punt.
Yeah, it's the 3rd interception of the season for Davis. I don't know if there's a mistake there, Kelly. They had 2 receivers that close to each other.
I think you're exactly right. I don't think there should have been 2 vertical routes right in the middle of the field. There was some miscommunication for sure. Number 16, Davis, is absolutely everywhere. He supports the run, and then he defends it on the back end really well also.
And over 300 career tackles coming into the game, and he's certainly added to it. Now, can his offense do something? They give it to Williams, and not a whole lot there. Kenny Williams. In fact, that's going to be a loss back to close to the 5-yard line. 2nd down and 12.
Texas Tech, theoretically, would like to run it more efficiently, but either you're committed to the run or you're not. And your guys up front have to know which it is, because if you're not committed, these guys up here don't get good fits in that run game, and it looks like that.
Well, they only have 11 rush yards, the Red Raiders, so far today. Daggy going to go deep down the field, and it's incomplete. Trying to get it to Eric Ward at the 38-yard line. Kevin White was in coverage. That'll bring up 3rd down and 12.
And that's the matchup we saw toward the end of the first half, was Ward matched up on Kevin White, man-to-man down the field. White defended Ward on that play.
And that is caught at the 16-yard line. Soft coverage that time by TCU. Alex Torres making his first grab. And again, it'll be a punt for the Red Raiders. And one thing we want to mention is Sky Dawson will come back to receive. The ruling is that any arm motion is a fair catch. So when he made that big, wide sweep, looking like almost an umpire calling somebody safe, that is a fair catch signal. So the official was correct to blow the play dead.
Well, and I stand corrected, because I didn't understand the rule to be that. I thought it actually had to be above the shoulder in order to be termed a fair catch. So I'm educated today as well.
We're here.
Thank you, Dave.
Now that is the old-fashioned fair catch signal, and it's made at the 40-yard line. So the Horned Frogs certainly not winning the game, but they have the edge in field position following that 43-yard kick. So can TCU, behind the redshirt freshman quarterback, take the lead? They've got great field position. 40. Perfect day in Fort Worth, and a very good Big 12 football game. Texas Tech and TCU with Kelly Stauffer. I'm Dave Lamont. Second best field position, Kelly, of the day for TCU, but neither team has put any points on in this quarter.
Yeah, I think the offense for TCU has been inconsistent, and that's typical when you're trying to get a redshirt freshman quarterback on board.
So you go to your veteran running back, Matthew Tucker, the senior, spins for 7, sets up 2nd down and 3.
And I think that's exactly what Texas Tech is going to make TCU do. Put together a string of good plays in order to move the ball and get points. And that's a lot of times difficult when an offense is ran by a young quarterback.
That's the kind of balance that coaches always like to talk about. Sometimes they don't get it. Staying on the ground, and it'll be a 1st down. But Tucker getting into Texas Tech territory in between the 48 and 49-yard lines.
And Dave, I think running between the tackles with this physical front 7 for Texas Tech works as long as your quarterback is a viable option. And so they're having success up the middle, because obviously the quarterback Boykin can keep it and go around the edge.
That's Trey Porter, who is being looked at, and we'll see if we can find out exactly what happened to Porter.
And he's the nickelback coming from he's right there on that right side. It's hard to tell how he got bent somewhat awkwardly. But he's the guy that sets the edge, a real physical edge setter for this defense in that run game in particular. So they will miss him if he's out for today.
So from the Red Raiders 48, here come the Horned Frogs. Staying on the ground. This time Catalan pops through a hole and gets inside the 35 down to the 34 for a 14-yard pickup.
And the same play, but a different running back with it. And Catalon has more zip in his step. You can see the double team will come off right here and get to the second level. And when right there, and they come off to the second level just as he's getting up inside. But when you have a running back with a little more zip, those 4 and 5s move into 10 real quickly.
TCU now 144 rush yards, 141 pass yards, and Texas Tech not able to run the ball well at all. Boykin off the empty backfield. Oh, look out. That's targeting a defenseless player. That is the correct call. DJ Johnson wound up and belted Sky Dawson. The pass was well over Dawson's head, and the personal foul will give TCU a first down.
Personal foul, targeting by number 12 of the defense. The 15-yard penalty, and it's a first down.
And what a silly play by DJ Johnson. The ball is obviously overthrown. The receiver is just as obviously defensive, and Sky Dawson running that in route, and Johnson breaking off the far hash, and just an ill-advised play by Johnson.
7 penalties, 80 yards against Texas Tech, and hopefully Dawson's going to be okay.
And you know how offense is governed by young quarterbacks get in the end zone is the defense extends drives like that.
Catalon again. He has got a quick start. Gets it to the 11-yard line, a gain of 8. So it'll be second down and 2. Cody Davis in there on the stop.
Well, that little extra burst that Catalon has that Tucker doesn't is making a difference running inside right now.
They're picking up the pace too, TCU is. But that time, no chance. Boy, good tackle by Dartwan Bush on Catalon. Drove him back a yard. So here comes a big third down and 3. TCU 2 out of 8 on third down conversions. They are 45% on the season coming into the game, 37% for Art Kaufman's Texas Tech defense. There's Kaufman there in the middle.
With Cody Davis in here and not able to help, this is the matchup that the young quarterback should like in this situation.
We have a whistle. The play will be wiped out with a false start penalty.
A false start by number 69 of the offense. The 5-yard penalty, and it's still third down.
Avion Collins, a freshman tackle, making a mistake. Barely moved, but enough to draw the flag. So now it's third down and 8.
Yeah, that matchup that I just pointed out with third and manageable probably goes out the window, because you would think safety Davis is going to help out wide and not leave a one-on-one matchup.
The formation is a little bit different too here on third and 8. On the draw, Boykin won't get there. Well, what a close by Will Smith, number 7, the linebacker, who read that play and got there quickly. So it'll be 4th down and 6, and on will be the impressive young kicker, Jaden Oberchrome.
Down in the red zone with the quarterback that can make plays with his feet, and you see 75 trying to get up inside in Woolridge, but the close by Will Smith, and he's one of those JUCO players that you talked about. You can see him showing up right there on that play.
Out of Riverside, California, you see Oberchrome so far today. This one from 32. Looked a little funny, but he got it, and TCU has retaken the lead. The Horned Frog fires up. Gary Patterson now turns to his specialty, defense, to try to maintain the lead. You saw your score in time. TCU has retaken the lead on the Oberchrome field goal, his third. 7 plays, 45 yards, and 341. Gorgeous, gorgeous day here in Fort Worth, as we've told you a couple of times, and an opportunity here for Stadale Foster to return it. And he's not going to get far. Very well covered by the Horned Frogs. He'll only get to the 17-yard line. 15-yard return. Well, you see where Texas Tech has done today. They were the only team in the top 10 in offense and defense in FBS. They're not helping themselves today, but TCU's defense, even though they've given up the 21 points, they're not giving Tech many yards.
Well, that's the calling card of Gary Patterson, is playing really good defense. The question is, have his guys on the back end had enough birthdays to really execute what their head coach wants, and today they're playing pretty soundly. You're right, this Texas Tech offense can get off on any time. There are going to be more points scored here this afternoon.
Well, this team has played 16 true freshmen, TCU, not all on defense, and 28 freshmen overall as they go Wildcat with Stevens, and he'll get to the 20-yard line to pick up a 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 coming up.
See, and what the Wildcat means to me, Dave, if you're not like in the red zone and want to change it up, it means we kind of have thoughts of running the ball, but we're really not committed to running the ball. And I don't like that philosophy. You win games by throwing it with the veteran quarterback. Don't waste a play like that.
Tommy Tuberville's team trying to get that coveted 6th win, but also more importantly at this point, trying to be 3-1 in the Big 12. Same goal for TCU. The winner of this game most certainly feels like they have a chance to win the Big 12. The loser is going to be thinking about what bowl game they might be able to qualify for. Middle of the field dropped. It was a good throw. Jakeem Grant could not hang on. Seth Dagey, I know, Kelly, you've been in that position. How do you take that as a quarterback?
Yeah, you have to encourage the young guy because Grant is one of the guys that's filling in for the 2 receivers, actually 3 that aren't playing today, and he's going to need some plays out of number 11. So you pat him on the back and say, look it in next time.
3rd down, 7. Look out here. What a sack by Devontae Fields. He is a freshman and now has 8.5 sacks. Wow.
You talk about quickness up inside, and while the defensive or the offensive tackle right there doesn't even hardly get a mid on it. And really what was happening, Texas Tech was having to pass that off on the offensive line. The guard and tackles should have switched that. The guard was late, too late on the afterburners that Fields had going already.
Being on time might not have helped. Now you've got Dawson, a good punt returner, hovering around midfield. Ortslaben, it's a great kick. Dawson with a fair catch at the 45-yard line. So once again, TCU gets outstanding field position. The last drive, which led to a field goal and gave them the lead, started from the 40. Now they're going to be at the 45-yard line as we bring you this week's BCS standings, brought to us by Tostitos. Alabama tonight, Florida taking care of business against South Carolina. Oregon's already taken care of business. Kansas State, that's a big, big game.
Big?
Oh.
That's a Heisman elimination game as well, I think.
LSU, not an easy day against Texas A&M. But they pick up a victory. South Carolina, we told you, is in quite a bit of trouble. And don't forget about Oklahoma. A lot of people wrote them off after they lost a game. Boykin to midfield. Catch made by Dawson. He has really played a complete game. And, you know, we can't forget about the so-called other Oregon team.
The other in the Civil War game.
And what the Beavers have done has been tremendous. How is it that Oregon, the state of Oregon, has 2 stud teams now?
Mike Riley is one of my favorite people in the entire world. He happens to be the head coach there as well, but he gets more out of less than anyone I've seen before.
On 2nd and 2. One of the things we haven't seen is the zone read as much, Kelly, at least as far as Boykin keeping the football, as Matthew Tucker busts inside the Red Raider 40 to the 37-yard line. Boykin now is sticking to the handoff just about every time.
And I think it's just because of the adjustment the defense has made. They said, you know, we think we can defend in the tackle box. We want to eliminate the quarterback outside the tackle box. I think the young quarterback is doing the right thing. And up front, they're blocking it really well. A hat on a hat, and just give a little room to the running back.
TCU had a 10-point lead in this game in the first half and lost it as Davis makes the tackle on Sky Dawson.
Sky Dawson is having a really big evening because of the coverage outside. I think the safety in Davis that particular time has to come off the hash and cover the slot guy. I like that matchup if I'm TCU. Dawson is down here in trips now. We'll see what Texas Tech does on the back end. 2nd down and 4. Cross out to Cadillac.
Rushing up was DJ Johnson, but it appears that Catalan has the first down to the 26-yard line.
And Dave, you notice the passing game from TCU right now is really controlled. Jared Anderson, the offensive coordinator at TCU, has taken the responsibility of reading defenses really away from the young quarterback. Throw it on time, look at this guy, throw him the football. A bubble screen is a perfect example of that play.
And you see right there, maybe the numbers that mean the most. Second half total yards, Texas Tech in minus figures, -1. And that pass rejected. Looks like Delvon Simmons, a sophomore from McKeesport, Pennsylvania, number 8, was able to spike that one down. So it'll be second down and 10.
And typically, Texas Tech on the back end, they don't like leaving the middle open. They'll have 2 high safeties or have 1 high safety and play man-to-man coverage underneath. That means 1 less defender inside the box to defend against the run.
Tucker is now the tailback. He sneaks out and Boykin takes off and he is spun down. Is there a face mask call? No. Donnell Wesley, number 96. Fans here were looking for a face mask, but the referee was right there and did not throw the flag.
Yeah, the referee behind the play has a perfect look at it, and it must have been the caller. He reacted like the face mask, but the referee got it exactly right. A nice play by Wesley, and he did not get the face mask.
So that is the end of the third quarter. The loss of a couple of yards is going to set up TCU with third down and long as they are trying to get 6 wins and, most importantly, trying to get to 3-1. The same goal that Texas Tech came to Fort Worth with. Will it be guns up or will they be fearing the frog in this fourth quarter? Boykin dropped, just plain dropped. Ladarius Brown just couldn't hang on. It would have been short of the first down. And Trey Porter is back on the field, we're happy to say, number 5 for Texas Tech, who left injured earlier, and he was in there on defense. Now we're going to get a good test here for Jaden Oberchrome, who is 3 for 3.
I don't know about his accuracy right here, but I know he has the leg to get it there. Well, he's been booming the ball today.
Longest of the season's been 50. This is 45. A secret MVP for TCU, and it's guns up for some of the fans here. But TCU has the advantage where it matters most, but a long way to go here in Fort Worth at Amon G. Carter Stadium in the heart of the TCU campus as the Red Raiders get an opportunity to get the ball back. But their offense has not been anything close to what it was in the first half.
Yeah, they're just 1 quick strike away, though. I wonder right now if TCU has put too many field goals up on the board and not enough touchdowns.
Well, their last 6 possessions, field goal, touchdown, field goal, turnover, field goal, field goal. A lot at stake in this matchup. Once again, Oberchrome is going to have the ball held because of the breeze. Once again, he smashes it. And once again, it's a touchback and ball out to the 25-yard line. Let's take a look, Kelly, at our Pacific Life game summary of this Big 12 matchup. See what Boykin has done so far. How would you rate the play of these 2 quarterbacks?
I like the decision making by Boykin. You can see right there, I think the 10 or 15 of 25. He hasn't been exceptionally efficient. The 2 interceptions, 1 bad throw batted up in the air, the other one misplayed by his receiver. But Dagey right here, you would expect him to get something going, Dagey, but he just does not have the receivers available to him today that he has had in the past.
Well, they had stepped up in the first half, but they're missing Jay Samara, who's out of this game with an injury, and out for the season, Javon Bell and Bradley Marquez. Another thing is TCU has increased the pressure. They go underneath to Stevens, made 1 nice spin move, and ends up getting just a couple of yards out of that as Davion Pearson, a redshirt freshman from Oklahoma City, makes the stop. It'll be second down and 8.
The problem for Texas Tech offensively, they have opportunities, I think, down the field, as we saw in the first half, but they haven't been able to protect long enough to take advantage of it.
Well, Texas Tech not able to hit big plays like they did a week ago against West Virginia, where they destroyed the Mountaineer defense. TCU's defense is a lot better. Number one against the run in the Big 12, and they have been certainly that today. Now 3rd down and about a yard to go. So here's one of the biggest plays of the game about to come up.
And you see Tech trying to run the football a little bit, getting a definite run look out of this front 6 by TCU.
And it's going to call it 3rd down and 2. Texas Tech came into the game at 57% 3rd downs. They're 2 of 8 today. They fake the jet sweep motion, and Dagey keeps it and gets the 1st down. Now that was Stevens, pardon me, on the Wildcat, not Dagey. And Dagey will come back on the field now. So a little deception, fooled me, and Stevens gets the 1st down. Their first down since the 2nd quarter with 3:41 to go.
And the Wildcat is all about creating one more run fit that the defense has to worry about. You take your quarterback that's not going to run it off, and you snap it directly to the guy that's going to run it.
Now Dagey back into the game. Hesitating, and gets back maybe to the line of scrimmage. But we're starting to see TCU, as James McFarland, number 40, made the stop, put more pressure on Dagey.
And they're doing it with 4, and that's exactly what Gary Patterson wants to do. Sometimes they're only using 3, which they're doing right now with only a 3-man line, forcing Dagey to get it down the field in the face of 8 in coverage.
Unable to go. Jason Verrett able to make that stop as Sadeo Foster was wiped out. You could see that coming. The question was, would Verrett get there before Foster hit the line, and he did.
Yeah, it's going to come from here. Verrett just immediately comes off of the edge as soon as he sees run threat. And it was probably a called blitz to begin with, but a great time for it.
Now sets up 3rd down and 14. Tech 3 of 9 today. They have only 8 rushing yards. Dagey hangs in the pocket. It's incomplete. Austin Zuzalik is claiming he was held. The officials aren't buying it, so it's going to be 4th down. Sam Carter, the strong safety, who had a big game against Baylor last week with a couple of sacks and an interception, was in coverage, and it's time to punt again for Ryan Erksleben.
And TCU is really complicated in coverage on the back end when it's working properly. And with all those youngsters back there, you never quite know, but great coverage by Sam Carter on that play.
So we'll see what happens with Sky Dawson. We had a interesting call on a fair catch signal. Any waving signal causes the ball to be dead as a flag is down. That time he made no signal. And Dawson certainly made the right decision. To the 45, and he's brought down there at the 47-yard line. Zuzalik, who was the intended receiver on the previous play, ended up making the tackle on special teams. Tommy Tuberville is well on the field.
Illegal motion by number 29 of the kicking team. The penalty is added on to the end of the run, 5 yards, and it's 1st down.
And Tubbs is working one of the officials big time. A 22-yard return plus the 5-yard penalty puts TCU in great field position in Texas Tech territory. Before a game, not everybody is eating barbecue. There's some other folks who decide to play a little football beforehand. That beautiful EA Sports NCAA Football Challenge. Now, Tommy Tuberville, during the break, was irate with the officials. Kelly, why?
Well, the return was to his side, and I think in the replay, there were a couple of questionable non-calls on what he thought were holding penalties, and that's what he just lit the officials up during this entire break.
It got to a point, and you may see it here, where they actually had to come out. One of the grad assistants had to come out and pull him back so he wouldn't draw a personal foul flag. So off another great break in field position. There's a tremendous tackle in the backfield by Kerry Hyder for a loss of a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and a dozen. And you see Boykin not looking comfortable. He is limping around a little bit, favoring that left side. And you commented earlier, Kelly, a couple of times that he looked a little funny getting up off the pile.
Yeah, and that's clear back to the first half. As this game has gone along, he's had to carry the football up into traffic more than once, and that limp seems to be getting more noticeable.
See what the call is here on 2nd and a dozen. Going for it right here. And it is incomplete. Broken up by DJ Johnson. It was in the hands of Sky Dawson. And give Johnson credit for breaking up that play. It's 3rd down and 12.
And what Johnson did is he closed really well on the seam up the middle by Dawson. And then what you do is you wait you hesitate a second when the receivers reach for the football, and then you just rake like a madman. And that's what DJ Johnson did on that play. There's the hands up, and then rake after you pause a second, and very well done in the end by DJ Johnson.
They're going to have to hurry on the snap, already under 5 seconds. From the empty backfield set. Going to go down the sideline this time, and it's overthrown. The intended receiver was Josh Boyce. That wasn't close. And so TCU, their last 3 drives started at their own 40, their own 45, and then the Tech 48. But you go back to that tackle by Kerry Hyder that caused a 2-yard loss on 1st down and reset everything for TCU. And what a big break for the Tech defense.
And what Tech's defense is doing is making Boykin prove that he can throw the ball downfield and complete it in a very, very tiny window. Taking away stuff underneath and making him complete the vertical routes.
That's a high punt. And a kick toward the pylon, and it's going to be a touchback to the 20-yard line. Every coach handles nerves in their own way. Some guys chew gum. Some guys throw visors. Gary Patterson ties his shoes a lot. And there's one of the reasons why Texas Tech doesn't have any points in this half, and they trail in this game. The TCU 26-21, and Daigie's on the spot there, though. Nice catch by Austin Zuzalik. But that's 16 plays now, and only 1 first down in this half for the Red Raiders, as we have an injured TCU player back at the 12-yard line. Kelly, explain why Texas Tech has not been able to move the ball nearly as well as they did in the first half.
What TCU is doing defensively is they're forcing Texas Tech to string plays together. And Gary Patterson said that they're a type of offense that likes to dink and dunk until they get in plus territory, and then they play jump ball in the end zone. We've already seen that today. But they haven't been efficient enough in the dinking and dunking phase. Therefore, they haven't extended drives.
He's Kelly Stauffer. I'm Dave Lamont. The injured player for TCU is Chucky Hunter, who is a sophomore from West Monroe, Louisiana. And let's get a Sports Center right now from Robert Flores. Second down and a couple here for Texas Tech. Got an interesting question for you, Kelly, and we'll get to here in a moment. They go to Williams, and he's bumped back to the 25-yard line. Penetration that time by Lewis caused that upset. Kenny Kane was able to clean it up. So it's going to be 3rd and 5. Real quick, the question as we look at the replay here involves the BCS. If Florida, not if, they're going to win big. What if Alabama, doesn't do all that well? Could we have a new number 1 in the BCS?
We've already seen the computers do not like Alabama. I don't know why. Obviously, they don't have eyes and ears like we do, but yeah, that could be interesting. Florida is obviously impressive today.
Texas Tech 3 of 10 on 3rd downs. It's 3rd and 5. Daigie under pressure. That's going to be a first down. Good presence by the senior quarterback to get it to Eric Ward. He was being chased by Devontae Fields, which isn't any fun, but it's a first down for the Red Raiders.
Daigie is not an exceptionally mobile guy. You can see Ward coming all the way across the field underneath, but Daigie moved just a little bit to buy enough time to get that throw off.
quickly across the middle of the field. Another first down for Texas Tech. The catch made by Tyson Williams, and he gets to the 45-yard line before Chris Hackett brought him down.
Daggy is finding room in the middle of the field as he found with Williams that particular time. That's where this defense, coverage-wise, is vulnerable, in the middle of the field.
And they move very quickly. Some of the TCU players weren't set yet. Williams tried to pick up an extra yard and does, and he is hurled out of bounds by Joel Hasley, the top tackler coming into the game for the Horned Frogs. But they are able to get into TCU territory. That's going to be 2nd down and 3.
And TCU has been able to get really good pressure rushing 4, and so you have to slow those guys down by not only pass protection, but the tempo. Take some starch out of that front 4 for TCU.
Texas Tech has only 212 total yards in this game. TCU's defense has been tremendous. In a hurry here, down to 3. And the offensive coordinator, Neil Brown, a third of the way onto the field.
Texas Tech calls their first time out of the half.
They have 2 timeouts left, 8:08, and they're down 5, looking at 2nd down and 2. What will Neil Brown call? They're noisy now here at Amon G. Carter in Fort Worth on the TCU campus. Students and alum and the fans making noise on 2nd and 2. Daggy. That's an unbelievable catch. Gary Patterson says he's out of bounds, and the officials agree. Alex Torres with a beautiful grab, but he's out of bounds.
Wide receivers to this side just exchanging positions. Outside comes in. Torres is the inside receiver going out, and I think officials got it exactly right. That ball was clearly caught out of bounds. And where has Torres been? He had 3 touchdown catches last year against OU in that big upset. We haven't heard from him today until then.
This play is going to be reviewed in more detail.
Here it seems like almost simultaneously. Wow.
That's in.
I don't know that that's going to be discernible, to be honest with you. Remember, the standard is indisputable video evidence, and well, if we get down to elbow on the ground and was the wrist actually touching a blade of grass, the replay officials earn their keep.
If it's incomplete, it will be 3rd down.
Tremendous catch, by the way, the left-handed by Torres, and brings it in. I think it's possession, and that's what they're talking about right here. The left elbow all the way down really to the wrist. Are they in bounds?
Here we go with the ruling.
After further review, the ball was caught at the 34.5-yard line, and it's a 1st down.
That is the 2nd remarkable catch. And Gary Patterson turned toward the replay official and gave him a derisive wave of the hand.
And right there, the elbow, actually before the rest of it goes onto the ground, the left wrist, that elbow is down. That's great work by the replay booth.
He's had 2. David Ames, the replay official, has had 2 unbelievably close calls to deal with on catches today. On 1st down, Daggy wide open, and another 1st down, and there is Torres making the catch on the other side of the field this time. They're going to mark him down to the 20. There's a flag back at the 45-yard line.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask by the defense. That penalty is declined. It's a 1st down.
And they've decided to put it down at the 21-yard line. And Daggy now starting to get some more time.
Yeah, and getting time to throw the football to 86 Torres. And we talked about his big game last year against Oklahoma. You can see right there the man-to-man coverage. He breaks it outside. The timing by the quarterback on that play was impeccable. And Torres is kind of finding his rhythm a little bit.
And now they bring out the Wildcat with Eric Stevens, number 24. And now Texas Tech is going to take their second timeout.
Texas
They
Tech
have
calls their second timeout of the
just
half.
one left.
It's a 30-second timeout.
I have to ask, you're humming along with Daggy. He's hitting people with passes. You're about to jump out, aren't you? You're not happy.
I'm not happy at all. I don't know why you changed things up. You're exactly right, Dave.
Daggy is back on the field. Stevens stays out there, but at the running back, all of that cost him was a timeout they might need later in a very close game.
That could be a huge thing today.
Daggy has hit 7 of his last 8 for 64 yards. Under some pressure, and then 7 of his last 9, so it's going to be 2nd down and 10. I've got to ask again, Kelly, I'm confused by this, and obviously you know more than I do, and Neil Brown, the offensive coordinator, knows more than I do. I'm just puzzled by why, when things are going good, you would make that kind of a change.
And I agree. I don't understand it. I mean, I think sometimes the answer for me is coaches try to outthink themselves, and I think that might have been a very, very good example of it.
Daggy has time here, guns it, and there's a beautiful catch by Austin Zuzalik. He started to wonder who was going to step up for the Red Raiders when the injuries to Bell and to Marquez, and it's Zuzalik and others who are stepping up.
And the timing and the ball placement, the left foot is down by Zuzalik clearly, but this is the rhythm that I don't want to take off the field right now. A veteran quarterback is feeling it, and he's getting the ball out quickly and accurately.
And maybe Brown recognized that, and that's why they burned the timeout, but they're down to just 1. Daggy wants the end zone. Can't find anybody. Good coverage. Throws to the back of the end zone. It's caught by Torres, and it's a touchdown. And Texas Tech has retaken the lead.
TCU had this very well defended initially, but the lack of pressure allowed the quarterback Daggy to get outside, buy some time, and then Torres, as a veteran receiver does, worked his way back to the back of the end zone, and basically TCU just simply loses it.
Now, Seth Daggy staying on the field.
Yeah.
Do you like this idea of going for 2?
I don't know that I like it right here. I think
But you go up 3 if you make it.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I'm not exactly sure. There's going to be more football played. I don't think you do it right here.
And this is not going to count because Tommy Tuberville came out and called the final timeout.
Yeah, I think there's certainly some second guessing going
Texas Tech calls their final timeout of the half.
Going on the sidelines for
timeout.
Texas Tech. I just don't think you make the decision right now.
Can I offer up this idea?
Yeah, let's hear that.
Can you make the decision a couple of plays beforehand? Here's what I'm saying.
I hear
Again,
you.
I'm not an expert in this, and I have to defer to the guys who work 80-hour weeks preparing game plans. You are in a position where you're driving the ball, you're scoring.
Right.
You think somebody would say, hey, if we go in for 6, let's go for 2, and let's think of a play.
Yeah. In the tight ball game, you burn 2 timeouts in situations that I think are somewhat inexcusable on the coaching side of things. And I think sometimes you just outthink yourself, and you just have to have a play that you can execute. If you want to throw your offense out there and go for 2, then be committed to it and get it done. But to second guess, burn a timeout, I think that shows the indecisiveness that was there to begin with.
So Texas Tech will try to make this into a 3-point game. Don't forget, TCU's got a tremendous kicker in Jaden Oberchrome. Back of the end zone, perfect 2-point conversion. Caught by Darren Moore. It's 29-26. Well, they call the right play after the timeout anyway. A 10-play, 80-yard drive and 3:51. Texas Tech, 9 in the air, 1 on the ground. Seth Daggy in the back of the end zone to Alex Torres. Now, can TCU respond at home? This has been a back-and-forth football game. The largest lead for either team has been TCU at 17-7. And for a while, Texas Tech's offense was going nowhere. Third quarter, they did nothing. Now in this fourth quarter, they put together a beautiful 10-play, 80-yard drive, and they do it primarily in the air, Kelly. Now it's up to the number 4 defense in the nation coming into the game to do something about it. Here's Sky Dawson. Trying to get to the edge, but they're waiting for him, and he slipped at the 15-yard line. He'll get to the 16, and that's going to be it. Bad field position for TCU. Let's take a look at the senior, Seth Diggy.
And Diggy certainly has found his rhythm in this second half, and really on this last drive. He's moving well. He's seeing it well. You can tell the ball is coming out on time. He's finding Torres also that isn't a bad decision as well. And then Darren Moore for the two-pointer in the back of the end zone. I don't mind going for it right there. I mean, the point after touchdown really doesn't do you that much good, but make a decision and go with it, because you may need timeouts if this game continues to go back and forth with a little over 6:30 left.
We know that Overchrome, the kicker for TCU, has got leg. He's made 1 from 50 this season. Today his longest has been 45 of 4 field goals, and that's gunned in incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. So now this is something that Trevon Boykin didn't have to do last week. They got out on Baylor in the second half and blew the Bears out. Now he's got, in just his 3rd start, has to take his team from behind against a good defense.
Yeah, a huge game in conference in front of a huge crowd, and it's a big moment for that young man. And you're right, that throw didn't look like he was comfortable.
You can run the ball, you know. It's not like they haven't had some success. They have 159 rushing yards. The moment the backfield is empty now, they trot cattle on back there. And that's where they go. And he'll get a couple, and that's going to be about it. Brought down by Jackson Richards, number 43. So here comes a 3rd and long. This is about the worst starting position. In fact, this is the poorest starting position that TCU has had. And here's a huge 3rd down.
Yeah, and what Boykin has to understand, you can see right there at 3rd down last week against Baylor, he was unbelievable, but they don't have to win the game on this play. So if it's there, try to convert. If it's not, don't put your team in a bad situation.
Is Tech going to blitz? They do bring some pressure on Boykin, and it's incomplete. Missed his man. Boykin got drilled. He is going to be very slow getting up. Dartwan Bush, number 54, looks like the player who got through here.
Yeah, and Texas Tech getting a little bit more pressure, and that was somewhat late. It didn't affect the throw, but certainly Boykin did not look comfortable on that play. And what Texas Tech is doing in coverage-wise, they're keeping a safety deep, playing man-to-man underneath, and TCU isn't getting much separation currently.
Zuzalik awaits the punt. High, not very far, but very high. Zuzalik just lets it go, and it actually kicked sideways. So good field position for the Red Raiders at the 38-yard line following the 43-yard kick. Now if you're Seth Diggy, he's just floating out on the field right now. He just had his best drive, arguably, of the entire game under pressure, and now he has a chance to put the game away.
And TCU didn't seem to have any answers coverage-wise on that last drive.
And they'll go to the ground. It's not been easy for them on the ground as Kenny Williams, the sophomore from Pflugerville, Texas, gets the carry. Gets out to the 41-yard line, so 2nd down and 7. Now you start to look at the clock.
Yeah, you're right. Ideally, you want to run the clock if you're TCU or Texas Tech. You want to go ahead and run it a couple of times, but also your quarterback is really accurate, and he feels it right now. So throwing the ball isn't that big of a risk either.
Another big thing, and watch how long Daggy takes before the ball is snapped. There's no hurry. Gets it down to 7 there. Play action fake. Middle of the field, and it is through behind the receiver, Grant. So it's going to be 3rd down and 7. Sam Carter, number 17, and Olabo, number 6, were in there. So now here's a big call on 3rd down and 7. And again, you're out of timeouts if you're Texas Tech, so you better get it right.
And you're right. That ball, if it was on Grant crossing the field, that's a conversion. That was a poor throw by Daggy on that play. To see if Gary Patterson feels comfortable bringing pressure on this particular play. Right now they look like they're playing coverage with 3 down linemen and covering with 8.
Watch for 95, Devontae Fields in that defensive end position, scampering up the middle and 1st down. It's Sadale Foster. He knows what that 1st down means.
What a gutsy call by Neil Brown, the offensive coordinator. A 3-man line to me means run the football, and he was willing to do it even though it was 3rd and not so manageable. Good call, well executed by Texas Tech.
We want to welcome those of you who watched the Notre Dame BYU game. Welcome here to Fort Worth, Texas. TCU and Texas Tech. There's your score and time. A lot at stake in this game. Both teams 2-1 in the Big 12. Notre Dame a winner against BYU to remain unbeaten. I'm Dave Lamont along with Kelly Stauffer. We're seeing Texas Tech being able to run the football for the first time all night. Kenny Williams toward the end zone. He will score! A 47-yard run by Kenny Williams, and Tech has their largest lead of the game.
Yards after contact are killers when you're trying to get the ball back, and a simple zone run, decently blocked up front, but it's just poor tackling.
And that is the #1 tackler, Joel Hazley, who surprisingly missed that tackle.
Exactly. He's been good today. That was not a great effort.
So Texas Tech trying to avoid what happened to them last year when they won a big game in the middle of the season and didn't finish well. This is finishing well. The sophomore from Pflugerville. Now can TCU respond? For those of you who did just join us, that graphic tells the story of this fourth quarter. It was 21 Texas Tech, 20 TCU at halftime. Texas Tech a bust offensively in the third quarter. They busted out, Kelly, in the fourth.
And Daggy got really comfortable in the fourth quarter, as you can tell by those statistics right there. He's been sharp, he's made great decisions, and obviously he took his team down and got it done on that drive as well.
And Williams, who busted that one for 47, had no yards and 5 carries before that. Now an opportunity here, kicking into that breeze a little bit. And Dawson takes a shot at the 25-yard line, a clean hit. So we'll see now what the redshirt freshman Trevon Boykin does in his third start following the suspension of Casey Paul.
Remember, you're down by 10. You need a touchdown and a field goal, but it truly doesn't matter in which order you get them.
Right.
But they obviously need to drive the football, and we haven't seen that out of TCU in the fourth quarter.
And the good news for TCU is they have 4 field goals. The bad news for TCU is they have 4 field goals.
We talked about that when this quarter started. Do they have too many threes on the board? The answer may be yes.
Boykin juggling. He finds his man. He came back away from the first down. Kelly, this has to drive you nuts, having played the position at a high level as you did. Sky Dawson had the first down.
Yeah, but he had to come back for the football to catch the football. I don't really mind that, especially in this situation, but you're exactly right. It would be nice to be converting on that particular play.
So it's second down and a yard to go. The down marker says first, but it's actually second. And it's going to be third now. Boy, the middle of the Tech defense just swallowed up that play. That went nowhere with Matthew Tucker. And now TCU takes one of their timeouts. They're down to 2. You'll notice that Texas Tech does not have any remaining in this game.
Yeah, I think the play calling on that particular play, I think you need to drive the football, so you can't run it to pick up the first down necessarily. You have to be able to throw the football, even with the redshirt freshman in that situation.
And for TCU, they have co-offensive coordinators, Jared Anderson. And that's Anderson who's just put his headset microphone up to the top of his hat there. And Rusty Burns is to the right of him. He's partially obscured by that pole. They try to come up with something here. Obviously, I've got to think here, Kelly, if they do not get the third down, they have to do it on fourth. They have to go for it.
I think you're right. And remember, you have a running quarterback, but that running quarterback has been dinged since the first half. So I don't know what kind of an option he is right here.
Boykin, one of his last 5 for just 9 yards. Guns it here. Got his man. First down to midfield. Josh Boyce keeps it alive for the Horned Frogs. And you can see Boykin just hopping a little bit there as he runs down the field.
And this is a very good look. Stand in the pocket and throw it strongly. Boom, right there. The quick release, accurate pass gave Boyce an opportunity to run with it, even though it was a sure tackle by DJ Johnson.
Pressure up the middle here from Hyder. Great job. Flag down. Boykin got a block and then lost his footing at the 45-yard line. But is there going to be a holding penalty on TCU?
Holding, number 75 of the offense. 10-yard penalty and replay first down.
And you remember that Blaine Fultz, who's the starting right guard, left the game with an injury, and that's his backup, John Woodridge, with that holding call.
When you have a quarterback that can make plays outside the pocket, this happens sometimes to offensive linemen. You're expecting the quarterback to be in the pocket right there, and actually he just gets beat inside. That was well before the quarterback with good feet took off.
You know, Hyder's a heck of a talent. First down and 20 now. Clock running under 2:45. Boykin in trouble and throws from his back, and it's incomplete. How on earth he did that, I don't know. Now we have a TCU player shaken up, and he gets up quickly. That's Eric Tosh, and trying to do not send the trainers out, he says, because that's going to take him out of the game.
The pressure once again by Bush around the outside. It wasn't great pressure, it wasn't quick pressure, but he continued to work and got to Boykin at the end.
Great job of strength from Boykin there. Second down and 20. Fires, incomplete. Third down and 20. David Bush was the intended receiver, and Boykin slow to get up.
And Collins, number 69, the true freshman outside, just is not doing a very good job on 54 Bush. When you have a hard time outside, that edge rush gets to you. I guarantee you that Boykin does not feel real comfortable currently.
Is there something you can do, a play you can call to negate that edge rush?
Well, I think the hold puts you in a position where obviously you have to run routes that take more time. You might be able to chip with him with the running back.
Going to go for it right here, deep down the field for Brown to make the catch, and he's in the end zone. Ladarius Brown. TCU is not dead.
Well, the man-to-man coverage, the one-on-one ends up out here. This has been there before. Brown is one-on-one, he goes vertical. And the young quarterback finally finds him.
And that's a critical PAT because it makes it a three-point game. Jaden Oberchrome with the extra point.
And typically, Texas Tech likes to keep help in the middle of the field. And so you get one-on-one outside after the rotation. So if you just run a good route, the safety is nowhere to be found. Those plays have been there before. Boykin just hasn't thrown the ball accurately down the field. Different story on that play to Brown.
And he had the time. Bush was blocked. And they managed that time, Kelly, to block him without chipping him. That time the tackle did his job and kept him in. I thought they were going to chip with the running back, but he went out of the pattern. So 2:25 to go. Remember, the timeout situation for Texas Tech. Of course, they're the team with the lead. They don't want to stop the clock. They can't. TCU has 2 timeouts left.
What a beautiful hookup by Brown and by Boykin on that play. 2 freshmen.
Now, TCU considering an onside kick here, I am sure. Texas Tech is certainly waiting for it. They have Stevens back at the 20-yard line. Everybody else is waiting this kick. And there he goes, onside kick. And it's caught by Texas Tech and Austin Zuzalik. A sure-handed player sent out there. So now the Red Raiders have the football at their own 49-yard line. And we have an injured Texas Tech player. Now, so much violent activity in those onside kicks.
And they got what they wanted. You want it so it bounces and it can't be fielded by the initial receiver. You got that, but you just didn't have the guys penetrating to get down there to get that carom off the first guy.
When you saw Sadale Foster, who was the player who first touched the football, was the one who took a huge hit. Thankfully, he is able to walk off under his own power.
That first line of defense on those type of plays are not for the faint of heart. They are brutal plays in football.
All right, now, 2:23 is a long time. TCU's got 2 timeouts. So you can't, if you're Texas Tech, you can't go completely into a shell.
Oh, no, you can't. I think there's an opportunity for TCU to get this football back. Obviously, you have to play really good defense. A negative play would certainly help.
And they go Wildcat here with Stevens. And he's only going to get a yard, gets to midfield. And TCU takes one of their timeouts. They are down to 1. We have seen it all in this game here, Kelly. We've had great defense at times, as we expected, because these teams highly ranked. We've also seen some big plays like the run by Williams and then that touchdown pass.
Yeah, the defenses have actually played fairly well today, but there have been big play opportunities outside for both teams. They just haven't consistently taken advantage of it. But TCU's defense is capable of getting this ball back. Texas Tech cannot fall asleep.
Now, are you comfortable with this idea to go to Wildcat here, or do you want the quarterback out there?
I want the quarterback out there. I want your veteran trigger puller out there to make decisions, not a running back that's not used to getting direct snaps. And
Dagey is back out there on 2nd down and 9. Ball at midfield. Again, the Horned Frogs down to only 1 timeout. Stevenson gets a couple. It's going to be 3rd down and 7. And there's the last timeout for Gary Patterson. So let's visit with Robert Flores. Robert? There's the TCU defensive huddle coordinator, Dick Bumpus, and of course Gary Patterson, heavily involved in all defensive calls for TCU.
And obviously you're going to have to play tight coverage. You have a veteran quarterback in Dagey. You would expect him to certainly throw the football right here.
We'd like to welcome those of you who just watched USF in Louisville. Welcome to Fort Worth and the waning 2-12 of this Big 12 battle. And it's going to be 4th down, and TCU will have to give up the football here with 2 minutes and 6 seconds and counting.
Well, once again, going to the direct snap at a Wildcats, and I just simply don't agree with it. I think your best player offensively today has been your quarterback, making great decisions on time. Allow him to do that here when the game's on the line.
And you're also pretty much announcing we're not throwing the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. A running back with a direct snap is not going to put the ball in the air.
Now remember, Texas Tech, I'm sure the strategy here is take the 5-yard penalty.
Yeah,
take the extra couple of seconds, lose the 5 yards, you're punting the ball anyway, and they're not even attempting to line it up. You have an excellent returner back there in Dawson for TCU. So now they're going to punt from 5 yards.
And that's the decision on that last play. Do we want to burn time versus risk converting with our quarterback through the air? And obviously the decision was we want to run the clock.
Erkslaven's pretty good, by the way. He's averaged 48 yards today. That's a name that's legend in the state of Texas for kicking. Line drive here. Dawson. He's going to go for it. Made the first couple miss, but not enough. So now, with no timeouts, TCU will be at their... They need to get to, what do you think, Kelly, about the 35 of Texas Tech to have a shot at tying the game?
The wind has died down, even though it would be at the kicker's back, so I think that's about right. He's hit some that would have been good from 65. Yep. I wouldn't count on that right now unless you absolutely have to. But in the meantime, you have a redshirt quarterback that is playing in his 3rd start that is dinged up from the first half. So he's not real mobile, but he's thrown the ball pretty decently in this second half.
And hit a big play from 60 yards to Ladarius Brown to make this a close game. He's got time. Throws wide open. That's Sky Dawson, and he has speed. Dawson down to the Texas Tech 45. Clearly a blown coverage that time. Jarvis Phillips saving the touchdown, 36 yards. The clock will begin as soon as the ball is marked ready for play. There's Bush putting on pressure, going to go to the sideline, getting out of bounds at the 39-yard line. That's Cam White. Remember, our estimation is that the freshman kicker, and you see what he's done already, he's awfully good. A first down will put him in field goal range.
I'm not so sure he's not in range now. Obviously, the closer they get now, the more likely it is for him to knock it through with this kind of pressure.
He's been impervious to that today. But they got to get him a little closer. Bush putting on the pressure from the outside, and that's going to be the first down they needed. Out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Gary Patterson screaming at him to spike the football. 50 seconds remaining. Brown made that catch. And there's the spike, stopping it with 47 seconds remaining. It's second down and 10.
And how well has the redshirt freshman quarterback executed in this situation? It's been unbelievably good.
Now, here's the other thing. How do you call plays now at TCU? This is a 46-yard field goal, far from automatic. So you want to get more yards, but you have no more timeouts.
That's a great point, and you can always kill it if you run it and then you don't get much. You can always get up there and kill it because downs necessarily aren't that big of a deal for the next two anyway.
And Boykin will go to the middle of the field. They're going to try the middle, and they get the first down, and that will stop the clock while the ball is marked.
And I think Texas Tech is simply just giving this receiving corps too much room as you look for Boykin to kill it again.
And so the catch by Tucker and the resulting run got the first down. Now it's second down and 10. The clock stopped. 38 seconds. How about taking a shot at the end zone?
I don't know that you want to do it with Boykin, the redshirt freshman. I don't know that you can narrow it down enough to feel comfortable with that decision. If you have a veteran quarterback, you can tell him, at the very least, we kick a field goal and tie this thing up. If it's there, great. I don't know that you say that to a redshirt.
The number 4 defense in the country coming into the game. Texas Tech is on their heels, but they still have the edge in the score. Boykin under pressure and sacked at the 25-yard line. It's now third down. The clock continues to roll. There is D'Artwan Bush. He's got to spike it here to set up fourth down, and he does. Now it's fourth down. And you're going to have to send out the kicker, and there he goes. And now the kick has become 42 yards. In his range, no question.
See, that's one of the things that you tell the young quarterback. We don't throw it into coverage, and we don't take a sack. And you can see he couldn't hold up his end of the bargain in that second one. He took the sack.
Neither team has a timeout. There you see Overchrome's day. This one from 42. Perfect. We're all tied up. And that would have been good from 52. He crushed that one, too.
Yeah. And the wind has died down, but he absolutely hit the middle out of that ball. I mean, this was absolutely right down Broadway and was gone for another 10 or 15. And it's one thing to kick these out in practice when they kind of quarantine the kickers off by themselves. It's a far another matter to do that when you're in front of all of these people in this big evening here for Horned Frog football.
9 plays, 56 yards in 62 seconds, and the redshirt freshman has brought them from 10 points back with about 4 minutes to go, hitting a 60-yard bomb and then calmly taking them down the field, doing all the right things except for the sack. And we are likely going to overtime.
And what's amazing about that to me is he's limping, so he doesn't even have his best weapon, which feels I can get outside the pocket and make something happen. He's done it inside the pocket really well.
So Overchrome will blast this kickoff for yet another touchback. And I'm going to take a guess that we're going to see a knee here. And
it will be interesting.
Overtime. Well, you don't have any timeouts.
You don't have any timeouts. I do have a veteran quarterback that obviously I want in the game instead of Wildcat, by the way. But I think you're right. Without timeouts, 18 seconds is not a lot of time.
Well, Daggy will come out, but there you see behind him is another Red Raider. And that is strictly a defensive position.
Yeah, that guy signals overtime.
Well, why not? There's so much at stake for these teams. We're not even at Halloween yet, and we've come across a very important regular season game in the Big 12, and it's going to go to free football. Both these teams 2-1 in the Big 12. You know what Texas Tech did last week, shook up the game. TCU trying to shake up a brand new conference. It seems like they're in a conference every other year. They're in one where they're very comfortable and very happy, and they might be 3-1. Or will it be the Red Raiders? OT. Texas Tech had a 36-26 lead. Just a couple of minutes to go, about 3 in the fourth quarter, and TCU comes back. It's more like 4. And now we're looking at overtime for Gary Patterson's Horned Frogs and Tommy Tuberville's Red Raiders. Let's review the rules before we find out who's going to get the football first. You have, of course, the coin toss. Each team gets one possession from the 25-yard line until we decide a winner. There is no game clock, but the play clock is in effect. And after the first 2 overtimes, you got to go for 2. Let's go to the field and our referee, Cooper Castleberry. Interesting that Michael Brewer, the redshirt freshman quarterback, is out there for Texas Tech. His first look at the field today. Josh Boyce for TCU.
Nothing carries over. Can't accumulate period to period. In the beginning of
he is probably just reviewing the same things that we did. You see read his lips. You must go for 2. What would you do here? You win this toss, Kelly. What do you like? Here we go.
And it is tails. You want offense, defense? He wants defense. Which end of the field do you want to play? All right, we'll go that way. You're on defense.
All right, let's review here exactly how we got to this position. We told you that it was 36-26. Texas Tech after a big run, and here's the comeback.
Yeah, the big play down the field by Brown throwing over the top of Nebo, and that's been there before. It's the first time they've been able to hit it tonight. And then the young quarterback just simply got on fire. Found the open guy, threw it on time, and then Overcrom just hit a bomb.
Well, we've had a blast here in Fort Worth, so overtime seems proper.
And I like my defense to be out there first. If you have the ability.
Why is that?
Well, I think you just know then offensively exactly what you need, and it dictates your play calling. If I only need a field goal, then it determines how I call plays when my offense is out there.
There you see the overtime records, 5-4 for Texas Tech. TCU was at 5-6. Boykin now 22 of 38, 307, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Gary Patterson is out there saying we actually wanted to defend the other end of the field.
I thought that Boyce pointed to our left.
I think you're right. We can have replays of the coin flip.
Wouldn't that be something?
We will play at this end of the field.
Wow, well, Gary says, no, I want to play headed toward my office.
Tails is involved. And it is tails. You want offense, defense? He wants defense. Which end of the field do you want to play? All right, we'll go that way. You're on defense.
Yeah, Boyce seemed to point to the other end of the field, but Gary Patterson wants to go eventually Texas Tech's offense to go into this mass of purple down here on the other end of the field. There's much more red at the other end.
Including the Texas Tech band.
Boyce clearly pointed the other direction, however.
Yes, he did. All right, overtime underway. And they go on the ground with Matthew Tucker, and he gets inside the 15 to the 11-yard line. A 14-yard gain to start. Eugene Nebo on the stop.
And if I was Texas Tech defensively, I would make Boykin prove that he's a ball carrier in this situation. The quarterback zone read means nothing unless my quarterback is a viable option to run. I don't think number 2 is right now.
He's been beat up all day today. Boykin has been limping around at times starting in the first quarter. That was hours ago. Looking for the end zone right here for the 6, and it's overthrown. 2nd and 10.
You're telling the young quarterback the same thing as you were at the end of regulation is we have a field goal at worst. So if we throw the football, you make a great decision. If it's there, drive it in there and make a play. If it's not, throw it up to your head coach's office upstairs, and we live to kick a field goal.
And they certainly have the ability with Overcrom being 5 for 5 today, including the kick that put us into the overtime. Back to the ground. Inside the 10 goes Tucker. And down to about the 7-yard line. So it's going to be third. We'll call it in about 6.
You can see Boykin as he comes off for further instructions, and he just simply has a bad will. He's not moving all that well, so I don't think he's a viable option out on the edge as a runner. We can see what kind of decision he makes in the passing game, particularly right here.
Got 10 seconds to get the play off.
And Sky Dawson has been the go-to guy from that slot. We'll see if he finds him on this play.
If he gets the play off in time, he does. They go to a tunnel screen down the end zone. Touchdown! Josh Boyce! Well, you said you'd like to go second. Now Texas Tech knows what they have to do.
You're exactly right. And Sky Dawson was the decoy on that play, going outside, and he ended up blocking the cover guy for Boyce. Very well executed.
No problem again for Oberchrome. So now it's very simple for Texas Tech. 7 or you go home a loser.
Boyce is going to come inside on the screen, and you can see number 11, Sky Dawson, acts as if he's going outside to run a route, but what he's going outside to do is block the cover guy at Boyce. Very well disguised and very well executed by Boyce and Sky Dawson.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we're not going to see the Wildcat in overtime.
If we see the Wildcat on any play in overtime, you might have to prevent me from jumping out of this booth. Keep your trigger puller on the field.
And he is. Seth Doege, the senior, who's thrown for 254 yards and 4 touchdown passes. Goes out on the flat. Catch made by Stevens. He'll get inside the 20, and a good start there, too. That's a 7-yard pickup. 2nd down and 3. Jason Verrett, number 2, on the stop for TCU.
And a good start because of a great decision by your quarterback. The motion showed him what the coverage was. He knew he had an outlet outside, and at the end of the day, that's exactly where he went, to Stevens sitting outside the hash.
They substitute Sadale Foster, number 8 at the tailback position. And hand it to him. 1st down. And Foster probably has a little bit fresher legs than Stevens or Williams.
Now that's a great point, because this game obviously has gone long and guys start to wear out a little bit. But right now, play calling wise, if I have a senior quarterback as Doege is, I let him win the game. I want to throw the ball into the end zone at some point.
Doege under a little pressure, gets rid of it on sidearm sling, a short gain. It was caught by Sadale Foster, but I don't know how Doege got rid of this.
The pressure that TCU has been lacking, you're right there. Doege gets it out, and it was a great catch by a running back. Typically, quarterbacks are taught with tight ends and running backs, you have to have the ball on them, or they're not catching it. Great catch by Foster right there.
They need 9. Now Stevens is back in the game, number 24 at the tail, 3 receivers to the left. Looking to the right, where Moore is open in the end zone. He can't see him. Goes instead to the other receiver, Stevens, the running back, and he can't hang on. Moore was open. It's 3rd down and 9.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 95.
Oh.
Half the distance to the goal, and an automatic 1st down.
1st down off the penalty.
The receiver you were talking about was outside on a double move, and the penalty on Fields trying to get pressure that TCU has lacked. Outside the double move right there, and then go to the fade. Moore faked the slant inside and then went vertical, and Doege gave up on him just a little bit early.
So Doege has a fresh set of downs at the 6.5-yard line. Looking for the slant, throws the fade instead. A lot of hand fighting. Is there a flag, or is it a touchdown? It is a touchdown. Another catch in the back of the end zone by Eric Ward.
Texas Tech loves to play jump ball. You can see outside those big receivers. That's offensive pass interference, plain and simple. And it's either offensive pass interference in the first quarter and in overtime, or it's not at all. That's a definition of offensive pass interference right there.
Got to make this PAT, by the way. Ryan Buston, redshirt sophomore. He does. We're going to go on to another overtime. Now let's go back to an important part of this touchdown drive was the roughing the passer call.
And Fields coming up top, trying to get pressure.
That is the touchdown pass that Daggy threw.
That was the touchdown pass that came after the roughing call. And that was, I think, a no call on the pass interference offensively.
Here is the penalty. They called it on Pearson?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I can't even explain that one. That extended a drive.
So we're going to go to a second overtime. Here is a better look at that penalty. That was not the penalty. That was the incomplete little short gain. Here is the play that was called roughing the passer.
Yeah, I thought they had called it on Fields, and that absolutely is. There's no question about that. The confusing part, I thought they said Fields, that's the play. The ball was gone, even though the defensive end may not see it.
We're laughing because that's about the 50th time that Gary Patterson has tied his shoes today in the game. Now let's go to the other end of the field. So the argument that we had, there's so many strange things that have happened today.
Oh my.
It is most fitting that this game continues into a second overtime. I have never yet seen a coach argue a coin toss and win. Now they have gone to the other end of the field. And here's Texas Tech trying again. And here is the Wildcats in overtime. And they go for a trick play. Daggy, he's got a guy at the 5. Touchdown, Texas Tech! Jakeem Grant. And they had a play for the Wildcat in overtime. Good thing you stayed in the booth.
I don't care how you do it. You can call it Wildcat or whatever, but number 7 is your playmaker. Get him the football and let him make a play for you. That's exactly what happened on that play. What a call.
All right, PAT is going to be critical again. Got it. Now TCU must counter with 7.
And this is why you keep Daggy on the field as a quarterback right here. The double reverse, he's going to end up with the ball. The fly sweep, the pitch, and then you can see Grant going to the opposite corner. Very well disguised, and hey, you get hit as a quarterback whether you're split out wide or not. You have the football, you're fair game.
Kenny Kane came in. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't call that for helmet to helmet, but it doesn't matter now. You see, he didn't quite get him. I guess he got him in the chest, but still, now TCU's got to come back. You're asking one more time for your redshirt freshman in his 3rd start to bring you back.
Yeah, and he's looked very composed, but obviously this is all new for him. Every experience he has for the next several games is going to be new to this young man.
And Boykin into traffic, but it's going to be a gain of 5. Sky Dawson seems like he's had about 100 catches in this game, plus some very effective punt returns. And you might have noticed before we had that play, across the way right there, they're buttoning up Daggy and making sure that he's going to be okay if he has to come back out for a 3rd overtime. I thought at one moment they were giving him the concussion test, but instead he just got a bandage for taking that shot, which clearly was now in the helmet.
And offensively for TCU, what you have to stress, especially to the young quarterback, it's offense as usual. We don't have to get it all on one play, even though we need to get it into the end zone.
On 2nd and 4, they're going to go to the ground to Matthew Tucker. He's going to get to the edge, and he's going to be hurled out of bounds by Cody Davis. Grant Walker by the 2 and the 9, but it's a 1st down for TCU.
Dave, you remember in the first 4 quarters of this game, TCU's best run plays were between the tackles, actually in the tackle box, and now they're getting to the perimeter, not with their running quarterback, but with their running backs in that same scheme.
First and goal from the 9. Catalan hit at the 7. And you see once again 16 Davis in there. He claims he has the football. He had some help that time from Will Smith as well, who's played a good game at that middle linebacker position.
See, I think those safeties that want to run support are the guys that you have to target. Even deep in the red zone, those guys can be influenced with play action passes and get someone in behind them at the back of the end zone.
Second and goal from the 7-yard line. Our second overtime. All touchdowns so far. And TCU needs to do it again. They swing it out to Catalan. He's got room and he will waltz in. Boy, they cleared out that right side for him. That looked easy. And now the PAT is all important for Oberchrome.
That's the beauty of getting man-to-man coverage. Your receivers run everyone off, and nobody was there to take the running back.
So the helmet goes on over the bandage for Seth Dagey. But first, this. Dead solid, perfect.
Well, TCU knows they're getting man-to-man defense out of check down here. Typically, the running back would stand and protect. Release him and see if anyone has him in coverage, and the answer is not quite soon enough. Very well executed by TCU. I think Coach Patterson might get hydrated himself.
He's going to have to. All right, his team has the ball. One more time with Boykin. Tucker in motion. Now he pulls up. And back to Tucker they go, and he is smothered for no gain. Now, we've had great play on first downs in this overtime, except that one right there is the first time that a first down play on the first play of the overtime period didn't work. Jackson Richards on the stop.
Well, that's a great point, because when you aren't successful on first down in this situation, all of the pressure transfers to a young redshirt freshman quarterback trying to get it done in a big, big moment.
You do have a great kicker who's made 5 field goals, but do you really want to settle an overtime game with a field goal? Boykin. And good job there by the Tech defense. That's a gain of about 3. Catch made by Josh Boyce. Now you got third down, and they're going to give him 4 yards, 3rd and 6.
And you're back to how do we teach the redshirt freshman quarterback in this moment, who's hobbled himself, and it's about decision making down here. At worst, we kick a field goal. If it's there, make a play. If it's not, put it on the fellow freshman kicker.
Different formation this time, Kelly. They have an empty backfield, 2 receivers to the short side of the field, 3 to the left of the QB. Guns it. The route was jumped by Cody Davis, who almost intercepted it. And here he comes, Jaden Oberchrome.
And the out receiver running the out route right there, and the throw was just simply late. That was Tucker from the slot position. It was the right guy. It just needed to come out about a second and a half earlier.
Oberchrome hasn't missed a kick today. From 38. This guy is as cool as that cryogenic sauna they have here, which stands as a modern hot tub, or cold tub, I should say. He is just perfect. He is unshakable. 6 field goals today for Oberchrome. A while back, when we started this game, we mentioned the significance of this game. Now, Texas Tech, a touchdown will win it. They go underneath, and it's broken up. Darren Moore unable to hang on. Jason Verrett knocked it loose.
John Coots, number 97, the defensive end, actually dropped back into coverage in kind of a zone blitz look and created more traffic inside for that crossing route.
Will it come down to the foot of Ryan Buston? 8 out of 11 in field goal attempts this year. Moore, he is a physical receiver. His hands seem like they're always on the defender. Makes that catch inside the 10 to the 8.
And the back shoulder fade that is so difficult to defend. Jason Verrett, number 2, has great man-to-man coverage all the way outside, but throw behind on that back number, and Moore is a physical guy that can just basically box out and get the football.
Well, you've got 3 cracks to win the game before you try the field goal. Daggy. 2 cracks to win the game before you try the field goal. Knocked down by Devontae Fields.
And remember, Diggy is only 6'1", at least it says in the program.
Wink, wink, wink.
And I think if you're too tired to get pressure on this quarterback here, get push and hold your hands up and form a picket fence on the end zone line and make it difficult for him to find a window to throw in and throw through.
They bring pressure from the edge. Daggy to the end zone, and it is caught! Touchdown! Texas Tech has won it! And for TCU, a bitter loss, and they have a evil crunch of their schedule coming up next against some of the best teams in the country. Well, Texas Tech gets their 6th win and goes to 3-1 in the Big 12. We thank you for joining us.